Hello everyone and welcome to round 7 of the 2021 MX Simulator Grand Prix World Championship here at Loket in the Czech Republic. It is the MX Simulator Grand Prix of Czechia here tonight, live on Start Your Systems. Again, Kellen Brower here in the booth, bringing you guys the action here in the 7th round of 12 in this championship. So we're now into the back half of this season, and this is going to be a fantastic racetrack to provide a lot of fireworks for us here tonight in both the MXGP and MX2 classes. Of course, the MX2 storylines with Pace and Johnson returning this week are going to be huge. But let's talk about this track with the hot lap, courtesy of atom.com. Adam Holm going to show us around the track here into this uphill first turn, a little left-hand 180 and a few rollers into this big triple. You're going to see 250 guys really have to stretch that one out. Right-hand kind of 90-ish degree corner leads you up over this little apex hill. You can see Holm jumping into the top and then jumping out. Little tabletop brings you back down into the center valley, and then you carry speed all the way through this left-handed sweeper up to the racetrack finish line jump, but hard on the brakes on landing to get into this U-turn and drop right back down into the center valley. Great area for spectators to view all of the racetrack here in the middle of the circuit. Down at the bottom of the hill, though, Holm will turn back up and carry speed to try to step up this hill or just launch straight to flat like you see here, way out down the mechanics area. Right-hand 90 down by the old start line here in the back, and a couple rollers into this tricky 180-degree corner. It's kind of a sweeper, but a little tight one. And then Holm electing not to do the step up into this corner, kind of scrubs it in, and then a double apex left-hand corner brings you back down the hill into this right-hand 90 all the way down to the very bottom of the track, almost down by the town of Loket here in the Czech Republic. Hits this little tabletop to the very bottom. Right-hand corner takes you back up a little bit, little step up, and then a right-left kind of chicane. Double 180s back-to-back, down, and then up the hill again into this really tall race tech tabletop at the top of the hill. Holm laying it over big for the crowd as he's going to get down hard on the brakes. Another left-hand 180-degree corner, and then a little hip jump to the right kind of flows you into this little gully section before the start line. Right up to the other side of here, you're right next to the start line at this point of the racetrack. Down into a little left-hand kink and then launch back out onto the start straight. Carry that speed up into turn 1 again. That's a lap here tonight at Loket in the Czech Republic. Well, again, thanks for joining us here for round 7 of the 2021 MX Simulator Grand Prix Championship in MX Simulator Racing organization by Race Factory Gaming. Appreciate it, as always, that you guys are coming and watching these races live. Kellen Brower here in the booth bringing you guys the action. And as mentioned, the storyline on the docket here tonight is Pace and Johnson's return to action after being suspended for a round last week. He missed the French Grand Prix. Cooper Hunt was able to win that one and with it take the championship lead back in his favor. Excuse me, actually, Rasmus Balzer won that, but Cooper Hunt did get a moto win and was able to take the championship lead back in his favor. So let's go ahead and talk about a couple of those points, including qualifying, which we'll look at right now as we pull up the MXGP qualifying sheet on our screen. Adam Holm has gone fastest in this MXGP class at a 1:34.132. Matthias Janis, Chase Blakely, Alexis Leclerc, and Luke Magnetti all right there in the mix as well. Got Lang, Carter, Bear, Mills, and Rockefeller rounding out your top 10. And there is not a full gate on the line for this MXGP class, but I believe we are running a consolation race right now for the MX2 class. Tyron Tomic has gone fastest at a 1:34.671, so the Australian puts it P1 ahead of Logan Leitzel. Payson Johnson returning goes third fastest from Cade Matherly and Nathan Prynne as well. Cooper Hunt, our new points leader in this series, down in 11th, so he is going to have some work cut out for him here tonight. But as mentioned, since that situation with Johnson, the MX2 championship standings have changed hands. It's now Cooper Hunt ahead by 20 points in the championship, 227 to 207. And you could still maybe not count out Luke Sullivan or Seth Shirley kind of lurking back there. They're a little ways down on 161 and 145 respectively. But now with Johnson kind of being held back by that suspension, it's going to create a whole different dynamic moving into the second half of this championship, where Cooper Hunt is having to do the defending instead of the chasing, which he has done much of this season. In the MXGP class, though, Leclerc still holds the top spot here by about 25 points now, so he's got a full race distance there on Tyler Lang. Matthias Janis, Luke Magnetti, Adam Holm rounding out your top 5, but clearly Leclerc and Lang have separated themselves as the two riders in this class that are really going to contend for this championship. Matthias Janis, they're in third, already 102 points down of Leclerc. So we'll have to see what happens with the rest of the field, but it does seem like Lang and Leclerc moving into the second half of this championship are ready to do battle amongst each other. So let's jump in the server and check out where things are. Gotta get my controller here. Whoops. And it looks like Lang is just sitting on the gate, so I think we are waiting Oh, they're trying to decide whether they're going to have 45 riders in the race or have a consolation race and then thus kick out 5 riders to make a 40-rider field. So a lot of people saying, let's just do 45 riders on the gate. Good to see you guys all here in chat tonight. Brendan Kennedy, Gerald Smart, Danny Sanderson, Oren Purley, Teddy Johnson, JGMX is here as well. We've got legends in the chat. Teddy Johnson, Cole Julian, and V-Psych. All hanging out. Good to see you guys. Hopefully you are ready for some fantastic racing action here tonight. And it does sound like they're going to go with 45 riders. Indeed, 45 riders going to the gate for MX2 Race 1 here tonight. So we'll have 5 riders on that back row, but no consolation races as we get things started off here tonight at the Czech Republic Grand Prix. One of my favorite racetracks. I love this racetrack. The flowing hills of the circuit, and it still has kind of like a Euro style, I feel like, where everything is a little bit on a hillside. There's not really any like flat areas of the track, so always been a big fan of this track. Excited to see how it races here tonight. Miss Ale Gaiman, Ezra Burns, Irwin, how are you guys doing? Let's make sure we got the moto name up correctly, and then we'll have the moto timer, so that is good. Audio levels looking good. And jumping back in the server, MX2 Race 1 coming up, 30 minutes plus 2 laps and 45 riders on the gate. So this is going to be a bit hectic. And as we see with this racetrack, lap times in the 130 range. So 45 riders on this rather tight racetrack is going to create some drama, I feel like, when they come through lap traffic. They're going to probably run into the same lappers 2 or 3 times. And might make the race a little bit more interesting for the front runners so that one rider isn't getting away the entire time. Also joining us, Evan McLeod, your boy Tristan, Colby Yule, everybody hanging out, having a good time in the chat tonight. Hopefully wherever you are, you're having a good Monday evening or perhaps a Tuesday morning. If you're in Australia, how's Tuesday midday going for you? Glad you're joining us here tonight live on Start Your Systems as we get ready to drop the gate here on the second half of this 2021 Race Tractor Gaming Grand Prix Championship. And this is going to be a big one in terms of the GP scene as well. This is the last round before we have a 2-week break in the schedule. We're not going to have another GP until August 9th. So it's going to be a long time for these guys to sit on whatever result they put in today. And I think that's going to make things maybe a little bit more dramatic for who can come out and grab some momentum from this one. This is going to be huge for the morale heading into the break. I think obviously we're going to expect to see Payson Johnson try to pick up right where he left off after having a miss last week and maybe try to get a win here tonight. Try to get that points lead back away from his teammate Cooper Hunt. We'll see how things shape up here in just a moment, getting ready to load in. Who else is joining us? We've got Jay Helmsy also joining in. See if I can answer any questions you guys have real quick. Oh, your boy Tristan, South Africa, 3 a.m. That is early birding it there, that is for sure. But appreciate the dedication and hanging out on the broadcast here tonight. 12:40 in New Zealand, Ezra Burns. Nice. Hanging out on a Tuesday. Sim going up on a Tuesday out there in New Zealand. 45 bikes loading in does take a little bit more time, so I'm sure we're just about to get in. 8:40 p.m. in Canada. Yeah, it's 5:40 here in California. Bacon Hair had a real life race yesterday. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. 2:40 in Sweden, 6:40 in New Mexico. Everybody getting in on the action here tonight. Any day now we'll load into the server. Hey, there we go. All right. So let us go through and to show you guys who is lined up here tonight for MX2 Race 1. As mentioned, 45 riders. This is going to be a stacked field coming into that first turn. So we have got many riders lined up here. Go back as far down the field as I can. Got Nick Tomasunis. There is Payson Johnson on his new Underground RC Kawasaki. Switched over from the Covenant program. Cody Cooper, Carl Novak, Dylan Cavacuti, Jeremy Estrella. Seth Carr, Juan Gomez, Braden Tharp, Frank Jackson, Devin Davis, Brett Powers, a.k.a. Donut MX is here, Brandon Wolf, Colton Hansen. There's your fastest qualifier, Tyron Tomich. Cade Matherly, Trevor Burns, Aaron McDonald, Hayden Grimes, Brandon Nygren, Jacob Kingsfield, Christopher McPherson, Dylan Love, Liam Atkinson, Casey Cochran, Neil Fitzpatrick, Charles Gable, Blake Wickland, Chris Post, Oscar Manias, Dylan Adams, and there is red plate holder Cooper Hunt, who also joined Payson Johnson on the Underground RC Kawasaki team. So both riders this past week have switched from their Covenant programs over to the Underground RC effort. And, of course, they would join Tyler Lang over there. It's interesting to see how that plays into their favor or disadvantage with a new team, new bike underneath of them. George Knight, Blake O'Brien, Seth Shirley, Logan Leitzel, Jack Gatland, Trent Adams, Ryan Pinkerton, Colby Ewell, Alec Horn, and Sean Hambrook. Those are the 45 riders ready to do battle here at Loket in the Czech Republic. And in just a moment, we'll get a restart in the server and drop the gates here on MX2 race number 1. 30 minutes plus 2 laps. And this is going to be a good one to watch. Can Payson Johnson claw some points back on Cooper Hunt? We're going to find out here in just a moment. So we load in one more time. Make sure we get the moto timer set up. Who are we going to select to watch on the gate is also crucial. Who's going to get that all-important hole shot as we are ready to go. Riders one last time will settle in. And we are ready to go racing here in the Czech Republic. Several riders hit the gate. It's going to force an outside position into the corner. The 113 gets there first. Huge pileup with Thomas Sunis getting shoved off the track. And officially getting the hole shot, it appears to be Seth Shirley on the atom.com Cowie as he slides into the second corner. Juan Gomez right behind him might have actually got a nose up there on the inside for the hole shot. They've got the 62 of Casey Cochran right behind him as Shirley nearly jumps off the track at the bottom of the hill, but he will officially lead across the line at the end of lap 1. It's Shirley, Gomez, Cochran, Aaron McDonald, and Cody Cooper inside of the top 5. You also have Colton Hansen back here battling it out alongside George Knight. So no signs yet of our championship contenders. A lot of fresh faces up at the front of the field, everybody jockeying for positions as they head up through the mechanics area, and every single rider launching out to flat there. Always a tricky situation when you do that. You don't want to land too hard or on the rear of the bike and maybe get kicked down, legs off crash. But Seth Shirley out front, and this is an element that he is usually quite comfortable with. He has been out front quite a bit this year, gotten good starts a lot. It's been a tough road for him when he starts towards the back to go forward, but that is not going to help his case as he tucks the front end at the bottom of the hill and goes down. So Juan Gomez, the rider out of Spain on the 2-win factory 319 KTM, goes to the front, but he's being heavily tailed there by BPC Yamaha's Casey Cochran on that number 62. So we have 2 riders already sprinting away at the front here, and they are set to do a little bit of battling. Cochran doesn't want to wait long, but he is going to have to wait a lot longer now as he slides out. Takes a little bit to get going there and is going to lose one spot, almost loses another spot as Seth Shirley gets into the mix. Jack Gatlin there on that 369 also coming in as well. And down right here is Cody Cooper. So Cody Cooper had moved up into that 2 spot, but then immediately crashes it away and falls back into the crowd. So a really tight battle here. Actually, moving up to second place here, Payson Johnson, the underground rider, has taken over second place, so he really snuck up into the front group here in a hurry. Kind of flew under the radar and made some quick passes, and now he's in a great spot to try to attack your race leader, Juan Gomez, who is now leading on to lap number 3 to the top of the hill. You see Johnson there lurking in the background. Gotta wonder how long it's going to take for that Underground RC Kawasaki to get right on the rear pipe here of Juan Gomez. Early reports are that Cooper Hunt, championship leader, is down in 38th position. So he is going to have a long road to the front. Meanwhile, his teammate switching teams this week, Payson Johnson, down the inside trying to get Gomez here Gonna go inside again here. Gomez to the outside, loses the lead, and Payson Johnson to the front here in the Czech Republic. Well, this is exactly what he needed off the heels of that suspension to get out front and try to run away with this race victory to maximize his points haul. He cannot control what Cooper Hunt does behind him, but he can control his destiny here by trying to pull away and win this moto. So it's now Johnson from Gomez. George Knight sits here in third with Jack Gatland right behind him, and he still has not quite figured out that he doesn't have the L in his name. He has misspelled his own last name, which is an unfortunate event there. So he's not Jack Gatland, he's Gatland. Dealing with pressure there from Casey Cochran. And also Cade Matherly. The 195 Stance Honda right up there in the mix as well, jumping down the hill behind them. The 37 of Logan Leitzel. And then Dylan Cavacuti on that underground RC number 18 right behind them. This is a freight train and a half. Oh, a mistake there for Cochran. Matherly gets into his rear tire and slides down. Only loses 3 positions and continues on. Now Leitzel closing right up there on Cochran. Got Cavacuti on the 18 lurking in the background. That's a good inside line for Leitzel. Might be able to apex this corner a little bit better. Yes, he does. Jumps up the inside to make that pass on Casey Cochran. So Logan Leitzel, number 37, Phil Ski and Snowboard KTM rider, is on the move in the early runnings. Next up for him will be Jack Gatland on that MXS Magazine GeoGuessr Yamaha. And the 41 of George Knight still holding these riders off. Up and over the top of the hill, and oh, it's getting dicey back here again. Cochran trying to fight back on Leitzel. Up the inside, Cavacuti. Leitzel, I thought he might have been jumping off the inside of the track, but a nice save. And Cochran just does not want to let the 37 go. How about Dylan Cavacuti around the outside? Gets around Casey Cochran. And around the outside of George Knight goes Jack Gatland. So we've got position swaps, and now Cochran back around Cavacuti. So these guys relentless with the passing at the moment. And now this train has tightened up to the back of George Knight as Gatland tries to sprint away from the 41. Leitzel, Cochran, Cavacuti all right in tow there behind George Knight. Up the inside, Leitzel trying to go to get a line on Knight. Outside in for Cochran, going to turn to the inside of the bottom of the hill, and he is back through on Leitzel. Leitzel gets right back to the inside at the bottom of the hill and passes the 62 machine back. 4 riders can throw a blanket over them as they go down by the mechanics area. George Knight, Logan Leitzel, Cochran, and Cavacuti up the inside. Cochran around Knight, and Knight had to almost come to a stop to not get into Leitzel, and down there is Juan Gomez. So Gomez out of second place, going to lose several positions and fall in behind this battle. So Knight also lost a spot to Cochran, and now is going to deal with Dylan Cavacuti closing in. The 18 machine going to try to go up the inside. Not quite there just yet, and now gets the pass done. So 4 riders have passed George Knight in the last 2 laps, but they are on a mission, all 4 of them. Jack Gatland now up ahead has moved into second place. It's an 11-second lead already, though. Payson Johnson sprinting away at the front. Gatland moves up into second. Leitzel now third. Cochran fourth. Cavacuti inside of the top 5. Likes that outside line to the in. And tailing Casey Cochran all the while. George Knight remains P6 right behind them. Oh, and Gomez down again. Coming together with Cade Matherly. He's in a bad spot right there. And he will just get going as the 27 of Devin Davis gets into the fray. Davis also dealing with the 347 of Seth Carr. And the 80 of Seth Shirley right now behind Juan Gomez as he got going again. So from one 4-rider battle to a 5-rider battle, actually. Nose to tail here. Davis. Oh, Carr gets sideways and goes down, and he unfortunately takes Shirley with him. So they will both lose several positions. And Shirley is going to be bummed about his performance so far. Here's the first sign of Luke Sullivan. Third in the championship on his number 11 Phil's KTM. And early reports were he was way down the order as well with Cooper Hunt. So he has done a nice job so far on recovery. Now finds his way into 14th, so he's well inside of the points. And where is Cooper Hunt at this stage? Here he is. Looks like he might actually be in 20th. He's 19th. 140.7 last time by, but he is already over half the track behind the race leader. And Tomasunis down in front of him, so he will jump up to 18th. And I believe that is also Chris Post right in front of him, so he's trying to make a quick pass on him to get up into 17th, 16th, just up the road of that. So Cooper Hunt has done a pretty good job so far to come from 38th to 18th in 8.5 minutes. But he is going to need to haul a lot more points back because, provisionally speaking, with Johnson out front, he will lose the championship lead at this very moment if it were to stay like this with him finishing in 17th. So he needs more. Get a good perspective to see what the track has already shaped up like. We saw the pretty clean lap. Oh, that was Luke Sullivan down. So the 11 Phil's KTM machine, who we saw made it up to 14th, now goes down, and Hunt goes by up into 16th here. But as you can see, the track, there's already some nice lines wearing in, deeper ruts in every corner, and also looks like maybe 2 or 3 different options already available, which is pretty rare for this early in the race. You usually see later on is, oh, Chris Post goes flying off the track. The team too dope. 164 hitting the ground. He is now off the side of the track, gets on just behind Luke Sullivan and ahead of Trevor Burns. But that promoted Cooper Hunt into 15th. And now he's going to make several more passes as Blake O'Brien and Charles Gable had mistakes. Gable gets going and takes Braden Tharp down. So now Cooper Hunt is up to, I believe, 13th here. Yes, he is, 13th. And that is plenty of points at this stage to at least maintain his championship lead. Still a lot of racing left to go. We have just surpassed the 10-minute mark in this one. And Cooper Hunt has 3 more riders right in front of him. In fact, they're going to go 3 wide over this tabletop at the bottom of the hill. And Hunt trying to split them, cutting across and taking a rider down. That was Hambrook. And actually, that's a lapped rider that's mixed in. That was Juan Gomez that got put to the ground. Sean Hambrook putting him down. That promotes Hunt up to 12th, right behind Hambrook, who now moves to 11th. Got Seth Carr in 10th, Shirley 9th, George 8th, Logan Leitzel 7th, Devin Davis up to 6th, Casey Cochran now in 5th, Cade Matherly running in 4th, Cavacuti in 3rd, Jack Gatlin here in 2nd, and your race leader continues to be Payson Johnson, who's actually using the number 1 in the server, but he is not your reigning world champion, I believe, so he is actually number 351, which is why you see that on his bike, the Underground RC Cowie. Working his way through some lap traffic, and as mentioned, that's Brandon Nygren right there on the 50. 45 riders on the gate in this one, so you're going to see quite a bit of lap traffic as Payson Johnson is lagging. He is now back, it seems, but there was a moment there where he had disappeared, and boy, wouldn't that be heartbreaking on the heels of his suspension to come back and then lag out of the server. So 11.5 minutes down, and still over 18 minutes plus 2 laps of racing still to go. Johnson remains your leader from Gatlin to Cavacuti, Matherly, and now Devin Davis and fellow teammate Logan Leitzel have caught Cade Matherly here. So this battle about to ensue. Devin Davis has done a good job so far to slice and dice his way through the field in the early runnings, and has made some great ground on all of the front runners with a few of the crashes that have gone on. Though losing touch now, Matherly actually sprinting back away, so I wonder if maybe perhaps Matherly had just made a couple mistakes or perhaps a tip over, allowed Devin Davis into the fray, because it seems like almost immediately the 195 Stance Honda has pulled right back away from this number 27 Phil's KTM. But still right behind him on the 37 is Logan Leitzel. So Davis and Leitzel battling of the teammates, and Leitzel's going to get that spot. Davis made a small mistake, missed the rut coming down the hill. Leitzel hooked it and went on around to pick up 5th place in the race. So now Leitzel will surge ahead and try to catch Cade Matherly in 4th. He's already opened up a 2-second gap on these guys, though, as Davis falls to 6th. Seth Shirley remains in 7th, and now Cooper Hunt has gotten all the way to 8th place. So Cooper Hunt, who was only 11th fastest in qualifying, you thought maybe that was a sign of some frustration on the day for Hunt, and then a bad start coupled with it. Really seemed like he was going to be well behind the 8 ball in this one, but has already recovered very nicely from 38th to 8th in 13.5 minutes. Plenty of crashing in this MX2 class has probably helped him, but he might help himself into the ground here. A little mistake. Loses another position as Seth Carr goes by. That's his new teammate on that underground Cowie. Now Carr might go a little long at the bottom of the hill, but he corralled it. So Hunt drops from 8th back to 9th, which is probably the first position he's lost this entire race. But he was very fortunate not to go down. He was almost completely sideways, getting kicked sideways off the top of the hill there. And will live to fight another day here with his teammate Seth Carr. Looks like Matherly must have gone down. He is now ahead of those two in 7th, right behind Seth Shirley. So Shirley went by Devin Davis. Logan Leitzel also through, so Leitzel into 4th now. Gaps are pretty extravagant out front, though, with Payson Johnson already 27-second lead. And then behind that, another 7 seconds back to Cavacuti, 10 seconds back to Leitzel. And by the time you get down to Cooper Hunt, who is in 9th right now, he is over a minute behind your race leader, Payson Johnson, and pretty much 30 seconds behind a podium. So he is going to need a little bit of luck, I think, to favor any more points coming his way in this one. But we have now come to the halfway point here in MX2 race number 1. 15 minutes down, 15 minutes still to go, plus 2 laps added on at the end of it. And we'll give you guys a top 20 rundown here, brought to you by R Jerky. Head over to eatrjerky.com, eatrjerky.com, and use the code SYS20. SYS20 gets you 20% off your order at eatrjerky.com. We very much appreciate the Wageman brothers coming on board with the broadcast this year, and we would really appreciate it if you guys went over there, bought yourself some beef jerky. It's really good stuff. Definitely high quality beef jerky, great flavors, many different options, and use that code to save yourself 20%. Payson Johnson, the Underground RC number 351, is your race leader at the halfway mark of MX2 race number 1. Behind that is Jack Gatland on the MXS Magazine GeoGuessr Yamaha, the 369 machine, sitting in 2nd, and a rather lonely one at that. 3rd place, Dylan Cavacuti, the number 18 Underground RC machine, almost through the front door off the top of the hill there. Nice job to corral that back together. Moving into 4th, and actually maybe losing 4th in a battle with his teammate is Logan Leitzel on the number 37 Phil's Ski and Snowboard KTM. And he's battling with his teammate, Devin Davis, there for that 4th spot. So Leitzel on the 37, Davis on the 27, running 4th and 5th respectively at the moment. Behind them in 6th, it's Seth Shirley, the atom.com number 80 machine. Just holding off Cade Matherly on the stance 195 in 7th. Cooper Hunt now back into 8th. Around Seth Carr on the Underground RC number 20 is your championship leader. Sean Hambrook, the District Designs 91 Yamaha, goes to 9th. And Seth Carr, the 347 Underground RC Cowie, drops to 10th. Fastest qualifier, Tyron Tomich, on that number 23, has worked his way up to 11th. Trevor Burns, the number 17 Covenant Honda, runs in P12. 13th now for Luke Sullivan, the 11 Phil's KTM. 14th for Casey Cochran, the BPC number 62. 15th for George Knight here on the number 41, just ahead of Charles Gable. A couple privateer efforts out here. Gable on the 88. Running in 16th there. Might get up to 15th, though. Trying to get a nose in there, and will do so. Nicely done on the pass there for Gable. Pushes George Knight back to 16th. Trent Adams just got put a lap down by Payson Johnson in 17th. So Adams on the atom.com number 43 has got the race leader right in front of him. 18th for Cody Cooper on the Waffle House number 227. 19th for Brett Powers, the General Insurance Wildside Designs number 40, just inside of the points there. And 20th, the final points paying position at the halfway mark, is Blake O'Brien on the OVO 167. That's a Top 20 Rundown brought to you by our Jerky. So back to your race leader, and it's still Payson Johnson out front. 351 Underground RC Cowie working his way through lap traffic. Just got around Colby Yule, and to the outside, just ahead of him, I believe that is Casey Cochran. So yeah, Cochran on the 62 about to go a lap down. And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier on, is that these riders are going to hit lap traffic a lot in this race, especially when you're Johnson out front putting down 138.6 lap time still. 135.7 is his best, a 51.6 second lead for Johnson. So he is absolutely flying right now. And at this rate, it's going to be very interesting to see how far up through lap traffic he gets. We've seen before in these races that we've seen guys get lapped into the top 5. Meanwhile, battle for second is brewing. Dylan Cavacuti getting together with Jack Gatland, and the 369 was able to just save it but loses a little bit of ground. So Cavacuti goes up into second, and Gatland drops back to third. Not sure what happened that caused the disparity in time suddenly. Gatland had almost 10 seconds on Cavacuti, so must have had a legs off crash at some point. And a little further back, Devin Davis did actually get around his teammate Leitzel to get into fourth. And Cooper Hunt is into the top 5, so Hunt now into 5th, right there behind Devin Davis. So he's got 4th within his sights, and you talk about a salvage ride, 38th to 5th in less than 20 minutes, and still might actually have an opportunity here to get into a podium position depending on how the cards fall in front of him. Almost no chance he catches Payson Johnson. Johnson is so far out in front and pretty much just putting lap traffic through everybody right now. But Hunt, you can see the gap ahead. It's only 1.6 seconds to Davis. And if you have Cavacuti and Gatland fighting each other ahead for second, just never know. Things could definitely fall the way of Hunt. And at least for the time being, as he's moved his way up into 5th and is just losing 9 points there on Payson Johnson, he will retain an 11-point advantage in the championship after this moto. Of course, we still have the second moto to run a little later on today. But Hunt has got his eyes on Devin Davis, and he's slowly but surely inching up to that number 27 Fields KTM ahead of him. You can see Gatland going up the hill ahead of him the other direction, so he's got maybe a visual on the next riders ahead. And ahead of Davis is nobody except those 2 riders, which are now about 15 seconds ahead as Davis goes down. Devin Davis hitting the deck. Going through the sweeper, just got a awkward kick and high-sided. So he will fall now behind Seth Carr and Seth Shirley and Logan Leitzel as well. And of course, Cooper Hunt also went by for 4th. So Hunt, what he's going to really need to do here in these next 5 or so minutes of the race is absolutely ensure he does not have a fall-off crash, because there is still a lot of really talented riders right behind him. Leitzel, Shirley, Carr, basically in a freight train, and they're only about 2 or 3 seconds behind Cooper Hunt. So if he goes down again, he will fall 3 more positions, maybe 4 if Davis is still close enough. And ideally, you would like to stay 4th or better in this situation. So it's got to kind of tighten the old sphincter a little bit, make sure he doesn't lose control of that Underground RC Cowie. And at this stage, only losing 7 points to championship, in the championship, I should say, to Payson Johnson. He's got to be real careful here because Leitzel has caught him in a hurry. And I wonder if this is maybe showing the weakness of Hunt in terms of a lap time perspective on this track, only qualifying 11th today, because Leitzel looked like he had lost quite a bit of ground to Hunt, but is now closing right up to the rear tire. So perhaps a battle for 4th brewing late in MX2 Race 1. Hunt getting kicked into that corner a little bit, losing just a little bit more ground here and there. But there is Leitzel closing right up behind. Oh, nothing in it, really. And still right behind Leitzel as well is Shirley. So Seth Shirley made a couple early mistakes that cost him the lead. Obviously, he had, we believe at least, gotten the pole shot award. And halfway through the second lap of the race, tucked to front end and fell off the bike. So he has pretty much been behind since then. And Cooper Hunt has indeed lost that position. Oh, no, he has not. Excuse me. That was Tharp. So he was unlapping, or putting Tharp, excuse me, a lap down. And Leitzel, similar look there to Tharp. Just right there, still knocking on the door. There's lap traffic aplenty. 48-second lead for Johnson. Still just almost nothing in it between Cavacuti and Gatlin. They are 14 seconds up the road of Hunt. And a battle for fourth is most certainly about to happen, because Leitzel has been all over Cooper Hunt for this entire time, but he's been getting balked here a little bit by lap traffic. Losing a little bit of ground. Now closing up. Got the 20 of Hunt. Right in his crosshairs there. You can see there was nearly nothing in it until a small mistake there for Leitzel. Now Hunt starting to kind of gap it out just a little bit more. Wonder if he maybe didn't realize that the gap behind was coming down, and it seems like he's maybe wicked up the intensity in these last few corners alone, and that has opened up a 1.5 second advantage. You can still see the orange fender of Leitzel creeping into the frame every now and then. Peek up ahead, see Jack Gatlin still eyeing Dylan Cavacuti ahead of him. And where has Johnson now lapped up to? He is down here, just about to come back up onto the start straight. So who is down by the start straight right now? Let's see. Cade Matherly, Trevor Burns. It appears Cochran is still the first rider a lap down, dealing with pressure from behind from Trent Adams. And that is 14th. So yeah, P14 a lap down in this one with just under 5 minutes and 2 laps to go. Adams is definitely putting the pressure here on Cochran. So what other kind of battles we got going? Sean Hambrook now ahead of Devin Davis. Tyron Tomich has sliced his way forward. He is all over Luke Sullivan there in 9th and 8th respectively. Lap traffic doing a nice job to get out of the way, and boy oh boy, there is, talk about riders all condensed together. It is a little tight knit up here. Jack Gatland has gotten back into second though. Dylan Cavacuti must have gotten into some lap traffic here. Oh, and that was that Gatland that just got taken down by a lapped rider? It was. Jack Gatland is way off the track, and it looks like he maybe was helped there by one of the two win KTMs. It was either Manias or Juan Gomez, because the 319 and 211 machine were both right there. But you can see Gatland now has Cooper Hunt knocking on the door. And is that Leitzel front flipping? No, that was another lapped rider. It must have been Juan Gomez. Oh, and Leitzel around the outside there of Manias on the 211. Those riders, again, are a lap down. Leitzel up the inside, trying to get a nose on Gatland. Doesn't quite get there just yet. So Cavacuti, oh, and Gatland down and takes Leitzel with him. That is going to very much help Cooper Hunt, as going through into 4th now is Seth Shirley, but Seth Carr actually goes to 4th. But he is about 6 seconds behind Hunt, who moved into 3rd with all of this chaos. And he is not that far behind teammate Dylan Cavacuti. So right now, Underground RC 1, 2, 3, 4.1 seconds between Hunt and Cavacuti in that second position. So as mentioned, Payson Johnson is long gone, but you want to talk about a salvage ride here. 38th to 3rd, and still has a shot at 2nd in this one. Cooper Hunt doesn't want to lose this points lead right away like this. He wants it as long as he can hold it. And hey, sets him up really well for this second moto coming up. If he can get in a second, but he goes down. Tuck the front end over the berm, and he most certainly will lose 3rd here. There goes Seth Carr. And that will be all that goes by, miraculously so. So it's actually an Underground RC 1, 2, 3, 4 on the track. Seth Carr moves up to 3rd. Hunt now in 4th. And then a couple Phil's KTM riders in Leitzel, Sullivan in 5th and 6th. So Luke Sullivan has kind of kept tabs on Cooper Hunt. In fact, can still see him just up the road. And Sullivan, as mentioned, 3rd in the championship, entering, just wants to get as many points back in this moto as possible. Both he and Hunt coming from way back. And it has been damage control since the get-go, it seems, for both of these riders. They did not get good starts. They must have probably gone down in that first turn melee. There were several riders down. Sullivan still working on catching to Leitzel, and Leitzel goes down. Sullivan's into him, and he's stuck on top of his teammate. He just now gets going, as that was a lapped rider coming into the fray. Seth Shirley is the next rider back here. Then Sean Hambrook, Devin Davis, Tyron Tomic just tucked a front wheel. More riders going down. Jack Gatlin is collapsing here after running in 2nd place and getting punted off the track by, we think, Juan Gomez. Things have not gone well for him. Casey Cochran just went by. Here is Cade Matherly. For the person asking in chat, he is 13th, is Cade Matherly. So let's see. Johnson has now lapped 10th. Tyron Tomic is a lap down. And Devin Davis in 9th ahead of him is just about to get the blue bar. Actually, Johnson just went down. Excuse me. So Johnson down with the race lead, but that pretty much doesn't matter for anybody. Whoa, stack up. Davis and Sullivan just got together. Got Seth Carr, Cooper Hunt. Still Cavacuti 2nd, Johnson leading, but Hunt has gotten back around Seth Carr for 3rd, and time has just now expired. So Johnson this time by will get the 2-lap board. He's about 4 corners from the finish line jump. And 2 laps to go coming up here at the MX Simulator Grand Prix of Czechia, MX2 Race 1. So we've still got 3 more races ahead of us. MXGP Race 1 currently in staging right now, getting ready to start their race in a moment. And here comes Johnson down the hill to grab the 2-lap board this time by. So 2 to go right now as Johnson crosses the line. Cavacuti was down. Cavacuti had just went down in 2nd, and suddenly Cooper Hunt is going to sense another opportunity. He can see his teammate just ahead of him, and this is going to be some big points if he can get them. 6.8 seconds, so he's not too close yet, but he's definitely a lot closer than he was after that mistake. We'll see whether or not Cavacuti can regroup and hold on to this 2nd spot, or is it going to be a situation where Hunt just claws that time away slowly but surely in these last couple laps. Seeming like it is stagnated a little bit at that 7.1-ish range. Hunt might be pushing the envelope, and it might be costing him some time. It seems like he's making a few too many mistakes here. He has still got his teammate Seth Carr right on him, so for what it's worth, Seth Carr doesn't care about his new teammate here. Might want to get back around him in a 3rd. Jumping down the hill off the top, and Seth Carr just able to save that one. That was pretty much doomed with the way that bike was about to lay over, especially in a rut that's that jagged and notchy. You pretty much clip a bar on the ground and immediately high side. So a nice save there, and you can still see his teammate Hunt just ahead. Oh, and there it is! Oh, he saved it though. Front end over that rut. Meanwhile, white flag is out for your race leader Payson Johnson, which means, I mean, he is lapped. He's somewhere in this group. How many riders have he lapped? Is he ahead of Hambrook now? It doesn't look like it. Must be, yeah. No, that's Shirley coming down the hill. There's Payson Johnson, so he's right behind Seth Shirley now. There he is, 64 seconds clear of Dylan Cavacuti. And pretty much on cruise control at this point. Again, it's more or less just bragging rights. How many riders can you lap? Little mistake there for Johnson. But just weaving around the lapped riders and taking his time doing so. No need to rush it. About to put George Knight on the 41. Another lap down. Knight had already gone a lap down earlier. This is the second time he'll be lapped. And this is the rebound Johnson needed. Very first race back for him since the suspension. And now we can finally stop talking about it, because last thing Johnson will have done now is won a moto. Gonna kick things off tonight here in the Czech Republic with a race win. And we're about to see how many points he gains in the championship towards his teammate. Might put Seth Shirley a lap down here before the flag, and he does, but coming down to take the checkers, MX2 Race 1 belongs to Payson Johnson. There is Cavacuti and Hunt. Gap has come down slightly, 5.2 seconds now, but it does seem that barring a large mistake out of Cavacuti, Hunt is just not quite going to get to him. Rider down halfway up the hill there. That is not for position, though. You can see at the very bottom going through the U-turn is Cavacuti. So Hunt has now got it down under 4 seconds, 3.8. Man, he's clawed so much of this time back, but it's just not quite going to be enough, it would seem. Little mistake here, little mistake there. Is that Cavacuti? That is! Dylan Cavacuti had just slid out at the top of the hill, and this battle for second is going to come to the flag. Hunt to the outside, trying to get around his new teammate. Drag race up the hill. Does he send it, or is he going to be a little bit courteous with the new team? Coming down to the flag, riders down on either side. Hunt trying to send it one last time to the flag. Cavacuti second by 1/10 over his teammate Hunt. Leitzel gets fourth. Breaking up the underground RC 1, 2, 3, 4 as Seth Carr slides back to fifth. So still 4 of their riders inside of the top 5. Luke Sullivan salvages a P6 out of this one. His teammate Devin Davis right behind him in 7th. And Sean Hambrook, the last rider in P8 on the lead lap here. 9th was Seth Shirley. 10th for Casey Cochran. 11th for Trevor Burns. 12th for Cade Matherly. 13th Jack Gatlin. 14th for Gable. 15th Alec Horn. 16th for Cody Cooper. 17th Blake O'Brien. 18th Blake Wickland. No, excuse me. Wow, we've got a lot of shifting around. Trent Adams now officially 20th. Blake Wickland goes to 16th. Brett Powers 19th. Blake O'Brien and Cody Cooper both lose positions. Looks like Charles Gable got around Gatland. I'm actually curious up here. Nothing changed between Cavacuti and Hunt, so Cavacuti stays 2nd. Devin Davis leapfrogs his teammate Sullivan for 6th. And that is it. The rest stayed the same. Johnson, your big winner here in MX2 Race 1. Well, normally I go into an intermission screen here and chat with you guys in the chat, but I'm actually going to take a quick break here for just a minute if you guys don't mind, and go to a back soon screen, but we'll be back on the other side of this quick break with more action here at the MX Simulator Grand Prix of Czechia.
burn me out, love just brings me down. Go inside like winter leaves that slowly leave the ground. Hey, you come back, I wanna give you a chance. Love me like you used to, so we can learn again. The skin is getting round, baby, drink your night away. Maybe we will not regret it, you will not regret me. Laying down under the sun, burning love cause we are young. No one tells us what's done wrong, cause it's just me and you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, back here at the MX Simulator Grand Prix of Czechia. Getting ready to go racing here for MXGP race number 1. Actually, let me make sure the moto name is correct here. And that is shut down. Alright. Give you guys an indication of who is going out here for this race. Got Hollywood Wascom, Caleb Hall, Tyler Lang, Chase Blakely, Austin LeBeau, Luke Magnetti, Brady White, Joe Wagner, Dylan Smith, Jack Daniels Racing Machine, Matthias Janis, Dylan Smith there again, Brett Thomas, Keegan Riley, Eduardo Simos, Colby Eaglin, Braden Carter, Lost and Die, Tyler Blowers, Ethan Parks, Daniel Mills, Chase Donovan, Austin Baird, Jet Wisdom, Aaron Rockefeller, Jacob Arnbrister, Braden Castellaneta, Jack Haley, Brandon Larson, Jeffrey Bruns, Jacob Hubbard, Adam Holm, and of course, defending world champion Alexis Leclerc. Ooh, rocking the gold plates today is Leclerc. All right, so we are set to do some more battling here tonight. Appreciate you guys sticking with me through that quick intermission. Apologies for that. I don't normally do that, but needed to respond to a text there for a second. Didn't want to just sit there and leave you guys watching me respond to a text, so I figured I'd do it off screen. All right, here we go. Set to drop the gate on MXGP race number 1 here in the Czech Republic. Who is going to get that all-important hole shot? Have to imagine Leclerc might have something to say about it. We'll see where he's lined up. Actually, he's lined up pretty far outside, all by himself in the gate here, so I wonder if he's going to try to get the jump and close everybody off. Here we go with MXGP Race 1, live here from the Czech Republic. That is a pretty good start for Leclerc. He will get to the corner first. Can apex a little bit better, but he gets taken to the ground. Colby Eaglin ran over him a little bit there. They got together, and Leclerc down in the first turn. Jacob Hubbard looks like he's going to go to the lead, although I think Daniel Mills officially got the hole shot on his JDR number 14. Adam Holm is there on the 2. You also have Brandon Larson. There is Lang on the 4 around the outside. 13 of Magnetti I see also in the group. Everybody jockeying for positions as a rider goes down on the inside. But it's Jacob Hubbard leading down the hill, and Leclerc has got a lot of work ahead of him. Just like we saw at Cooper Hunt. My, oh my, Jacob Hubbard launching to flat there in the mechanics area. Didn't really gain him any ground, though. It seemed like Mills actually gained some time on him by electing to step up to the flat there. And it's Hubbard away from Mills, and you still have the 2 of Holm right there before you get to the 4 of Lang. Lang entering 25 points down in the championship, so needs to gain as many points as possible on Leclerc as each moto ticks by in the second half of this championship. Can't afford to lose points at this stage. Uh-oh, do we have a change for the lead? Yes, we do. Daniel Mills down the inside takes it back over from Hubbard. So the 14, Jack Daniels Racing Husqvarna goes to the front. And Hubbard now has to settle into second. Mills wasting no time. Holm dealing with a bit of an attack here from Tyler Lang. Lang not wanting to waste any time either. And you can see the top 4 all still on your screen here coming into the second corner. Working up to complete the first full lap of the race. Oh, home down, and wow, Lang was very lucky to just not get taken with him. Holm going to lose 5 positions by the looks of it. Braden Carter, Austin Baer, Brandon Larson, Matthias Janis, and of course Lang all going by. So Lang now moves up into 3rd and sets his sights on Jacob Hubbard. Hubbard still has his eyes firmly on Daniel Mills ahead of him though. Let's see what happens in the opening stages of this one. Crucial not to fall. Put yourself at a deficit like we just saw there with Adam Holm. Somehow he didn't lose too many positions. We'll have to check in and see where Leclerc is after the first full lap of the race. Going down in the first turn, not ideal, but going down with him, of course, is Colby Eaglin. So you got a couple of fast guys, might be able to get together and freight train towards the front. As it's still Mills from Hubbard and Lang at the very front of the field, but Hubbard now tucks the front end. Does not fall off the bike and remains in 3rd, just ahead of Janis there on the 130. Looks like Leclerc P17, 19 seconds off the lead, 3 minutes into this one. So Daniel Mills continues to lead the race. The Jack Daniels Racing Husqvarna program hasn't seen a winner outdoors yet this year. Normally it comes from team leader Jack Haley. But Daniel Mills has been no slouch over the last few years, especially in Supercross, where he's won a few 250 main events, contended at the front when he jumps over to race in the 450 class on the opposite coast. But not too often we see him run at the sharp end in the outdoors. So maybe he's got a setup dialed this week, maybe he likes this track, or maybe he just finally has a start and can show what he's made of. But so far, so good as he leads the way. Lang's still right behind him in 2nd. Hubbard has lost some ground and is going to deal with some pressure from Matthias Janis as they work on who will be in 3rd place in this one. Braden Carter, another guy that has not gotten any starts to save his life this year in the Outdoor Championship, but good one here. And rider down on the inside, that is Hubbard. So Hubbard now goes from 3rd to 6th as Holm also goes by for 5th. Then you have Austin Baer right there. Here is Simos, Rockefeller, and Hall. Nose to tail in a little bit of a battle here. Rockefeller, contact there with Simos, and he goes down. And Simos somehow saved that. Caleb Hall going to try to make a pass on him. They nearly come together. Almost contact jumping down the hill. And through goes Caleb Hall. So there is some battles going on. Meanwhile, talk about battles. We got a close one for the lead. Suddenly, Lang has gotten through and is into 2nd place and is right on Daniel Mills. 5 minutes in, 25 minutes and 2 laps still to go. D Mills leads, Lang 2nd, and with Leclerc still somewhere down the order a little ways, this is a massive advantage for Lang to try to get to the front and get out of here early. You just never know with Leclerc. Sometimes, although now he's down in 22nd, 37 seconds off the lead, so things are going from bad to worse for your defending world champion. But you just never know. Leclerc, it seems like, can win a race from almost anywhere. Even that far down, sometimes he still gets it done. That's just the nature of the business lately when you end up on a motocross track against Leclerc. Reigning GP champion, reigning national champion, 4-time national champion, 3-time world champion. Dude knows how to win these things. So if you're Lang and you're in this situation, I think you are fully focused on trying to get the lead away from Daniel Mills and get away as fast as possible. And it seems like that is exactly what he's trying to do. Battle for the lead is on. Nothing in it anymore. Mills has lost all the time that he had, and Lang has gained it all back. And they both tuck a front end in this corner. Awkward double fall off. Who's going to get into the lead? It'll be Lang, but Mills trying to fight back on the outside, backs out of the challenge. Lang to the front. Tyler Lang takes over the race lead. Mills, another mistake. That should allow Janis through into 2nd. Not quite done deal just yet. They're still side by side, but Janis now goes through. So just like we saw in MX2 Race 1, the Underground RC Kawasaki program is fielding a load of talent, and they are 1-2 here with Lang and Janice out front. There's Lang, there's Janice, there's Mills. Braden Carter still right there in 4th. And Adam Holman 5th, so we really do have quite a few heavy hitters at the front. We're just missing Leclerc. Here's Hubbard, Caleb Hall, then Simos, Bear, Larson, Wisdom, Jeffrey Bruns, Magnetti, Castellaneta. There's Thomas in P15. Blakely 16th here. Rockefeller 17th. Not for long. There goes Leclerc up into 17th. Curious of what his lap times are in traffic, though. He's pretty much had riders all around him from the gate drop here, and might also be able to get a clean lap in this time by 43.8. So we'll see. Maybe he can lay down something in the low 30s this time by. He pretty much has had a fall off every single lap by the looks of it, especially given the time lost to the leaders this entire time as well. You can see as well on his pit board, the time to the riders ahead of him comes down rather quickly. It's always amazing to watch Leclerc go to work and just, honestly, if you just watch his tachometer in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, it's kind of incredible to see what gears he's in. And it's also weird to me how he never shifts down until he's like literally in the rut. It's always so odd to me that he still gets good drive. Because sometimes he might be getting on the throttle as he's in a high gear still, but you can see there, it doesn't actually shift down until he's in the corner. 5th down to 3rd, back up to 5th. Hard on the brakes, back down to 3rd, all the way back to 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Like shifting so fast. I don't understand how he can shift through gears that quickly and never seem to lose drive. It always seems like he's in the right gear as well for maximum traction. His setup has always been a little bit more sagged out, and the rear end gets more traction to the ground because it kind of sits lower. It's just fascinating to watch Leclerc in action. Honestly, I wish I could see his controller setup and see his inputs and everything that goes into that. But he puts down a 35.7 in his first lap in clean air, and he's pretty much got the top 10 right in front of him. He's moving up to 15th right now. And you can see 4 or 5 riders still right in front of him. Another rider just went down. That'll move him to 14th, I believe. Yes. So up to 14th now goes Leclerc. Brett Thomas also tucked the front end and went down. Here's Brandon Larson right behind Leclerc. So Leclerc already up to 13th and still working on making quick passes. He's been maybe a bit lucky here, although I feel the same probably happened with Cooper Hunt, that he comes up to groups of riders, and those groups of riders seem to have quick mistakes or falls or something to allow Leclerc through. He's not really having to battle too much for these positions. Inside move there for Blakely, gets around Jeffrey Bruns, and Leclerc is trying to stick a nose in somewhere. A little mistake, and as with always everything Leclerc does, little mistake, nothing really in it though. Just gains that time right back and almost runs into the back of Jeffrey Bruns because he got so much time on him coming up that hill. So in traffic, I'm curious lap time wise, 39.2, so losing 4 seconds a lap trying to make passes, and this time just forces the issue down the inside of Bruns and moves into 12th place. Blakely's still ahead of him. Simos is down. That's going to be another spot for Leclerc. Blakely up to 10th. Magnetti 9th. Bear 8th. Hall 7th. Hubbard 6th. Mills now 5th. Holm up to 4th. Carter 3rd right behind Janice in 2nd. And Lang continues to lead the race here. MXGP Race 1. That is Eaglin getting out of the way and allowing Lang to lap him. So, wow. Tough break there for Colby Eaglin, as he has really run into a bit of struggles here. Now we gave Leclerc some limelight. Let's give Lang some limelight, and let's just go on board with him here as he crosses the finish line this time by Let's kind of listen to how he rides the bike compared to Leclerc. See the RPM range and the gears that he's in. See Lang just kind of working the bike underneath of him, just putting down really consistent laps, consistently in the 36, 35 range. Braden Carter behind him, though, has not really let him go. So Carter has definitely kept tabs on Lang here, and that's interesting because Lang just now made another mistake. And if you're Lang here, it seemed like all was good and you were kind of sneaking away, but suddenly we're coming to the halfway point. Another small mistake there, and Carter is already on his rear tire, so we have got almost nothing in it for the race lead. And now how can Lang respond to this pressure, because Carter is definitely closed that gap down in a hurry and doesn't seem like he is gonna waste much time if he wants to go to the race lead here. Oh, but he's down off the side of the track. So now head has come unglued in just a few mistakes like that. Lang now takes over a 7-second lead on Adam Holm, who moves up into second. Janice now third, and Carter right there on him in fourth. Mills still right there as well. And looking back to see Leclerc is now up into 10th. Janice, Carter, and Mills nose to tail here, though. Oh, mistake for Carter again, and gonna lose another spot to Mills. So now Mills has got his eyes set on Janice up ahead of him, as Carter slips back to 5th, and as we maybe have a bit of a lull in the action out front for just a moment, let's give you guys a top 20 rundown. This one is brought to you by atom.com. Adam Holm on board with the broadcast this year as well, and definitely would recommend checking out his website, atom.com. He's got some cool music over there that he's been producing, got a merch line if you're willing to support his program and his music career that he's trying to get off the ground. So we appreciate him helping us out with the virtual laps on the broadcast this year. And he brings you this top 20 rundown here at Loket. Tyler Lang, Underground RC number 4, leads here in MXGP race number 1. Gonna try to lap chase Donovan there on the 73 and continue on his way. There is the man with the plan, though, Adam Holm in second on his atom.com Kawasaki, the number 2 machine, 2019 MXGP World Champion. And he is not too far behind Lang in case something gets a little bit wayward with the number 4 out front. Third, Matthias Janis, the Underground RC number 130 machine. He has been steadily a top 5 contender all year long and picking up another good solid run of points here in third. Carter, Braden Carter that is, in fourth on his Phil's KTM number 19. And fifth is Daniel Mills, who is actually number 15 on the Jack Daniels Racing Husqvarna, but is using the number 14 bike. So maybe that's his GP number, not sure. Jacob Hubbard runs 6th on the Phil's KTM 778 machine, just ahead of Luke Magnetti, and 7th on number 13 BPC Yamaha. 8th for Caleb Hall on his Underground RC number 45. 9th is Chase Blakely on the BPC number 21 Yamaha. And 10th, defending world champion Alexis Leclerc on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing number 1. Austin Bear, the number 64 Phil's KTM, runs 11th. 12th for the number 12 of Braden Castellaneta on the Underground RC Cowie. 13th for Jeffrey Bruns, atom.com number 333 Cowie, ahead of Eduardo Simos on the PV Industries number 294. 15th is Aaron Rockefeller on the Underground RC number 65. 16th for Jack Haley on his Jack Daniels Racing number 2. 17th for Jet Wisdom on the BPC Yamaha number 99. 18th for Ethan Parks on the SYS Racing Heckman Productions number 32. 19th is Brandon Larson on the Stance 245 Honda. And 20th is now going to go to Dylan Smith on the Jack Daniels Racing number 732. Chase Donovan goes to 21st, Brett Thomas 22nd, and Austin LeBeau was in 20th but just got punted off the track as he was about to be named there, so we'll give him a little bit of love. But unfortunately, he drops back to 23rd. Back to our race leader, Tyler Lang. Gap has stabilized a little bit there on Adam Holm. Battle for third is on, though. Carter has caught back up to Janis. Little inside rut there, try to get a nose in, but kind of blew it at the bottom of the hill, so now settles in a little bit further back. Oh, Janis, a mistake, and threw the banners off the side of the track. Allows Carter through and into third. So Carter up to third, Janis fourth. Oh, Mills down in fifth, and he's going to lose 2 spots there. Maybe 3. Gets going. Caleb Hall was just not quite there. So Hall now settles in behind Mills, but he's about 8-9 seconds down still. Magnetti also went by, as did Hubbard, so those are the 2 positions lost there. And interesting to see, Leclerc hasn't made too many inroads on this group just yet. He's got 9 minutes and 2 laps still to go. He's up to 9th. He's working on Caleb Hall for 8th, but he might run out of kind of time here, it seems. Trying to get to the inside just a little bit later on the brakes. Still hooks that inside rut. And Leclerc's up to 8th. So remember, it's a 25-point lead in the championship entering this moto. And Lang just went down with the lead. He is going to get up still in the lead, but Holm is suddenly going to be right there. Anyway, with Leclerc up into 8th now. Excuse me, that is going to be 13 points gained for Leclerc versus the 25 points gained obviously for Lang, so that essentially cuts the lead in half. It's now going to be a 13-point lead for Leclerc in the championship still, essentially. It's pretty much whatever points he gains in this moto is what his championship lead will still remain after this, with Lang maximizing his points with that 25-point deficit. But since that mistake out of Lang has materialized, we have got to keep an eye here on Adam Holm. Adam Holm is right there knocking on the door, looking for another race victory. And he's got that big number 2 on his bike because he's a former series champion and knows how to get it done in this class. So he will push to the bitter end to try to catch Tyler Lang. Of course, Lang is your defending MX2 world champion, moving up to the 450 class for the first time this year. Had a pretty strong Supercross season, having a pretty good Race Factory Gaming National Championship season as well. But right now, focus is on this GP race and whether or not he can claw some points back on Leclerc in this one. And we'll see how many points Leclerc can hold himself. Little mistake there for a Holm, and didn't want to go off the track and receive a penalty. So comes to nearly a full stop to just stay inside of that hay bale. Rider down. That was a lap rider though. And it does seem as though Lang has kind of stabilized that lead a little bit. He is stretched out maybe 2 seconds now on Holm, maybe 3. Seems like it's definitely widened since we've come to this lead battle. So there comes Holm over the line behind him. Janice 3rd, Carter 4th, Hubbard 5th, Magnetti 6th, Mills 7th, and here comes Leclerc trying to catch Daniel Mills. 36.8 last time by, so as the track continues to deteriorate, Leclerc continues to charge. That is only 1 second off of his best time this entire moto. And coming up to complete lap number 15, it seems like he is still putting down some absolute burners. .139 flat there for Leclerc. It's a little bit off the pace from the time that he had just put down before, but clearly he has been reeling in Mills all the while. 47 flat for Mills, and a mistake as well. This is going to be Leclerc's opportunity, I believe. Launches way up the hill to flat at the mechanics area. And Leclerc set to do battle. That's another rider down. That's the 518, I believe, of Austin LeBeau, who's in 23rd. So Leclerc here in 8th just put him a lap down to himself. But obviously he was already a lap down to the leaders. It seems like Leclerc, every time he gains a little bit on Mills, Mills is able to kind of at least stagnate it. It doesn't seem like he gains and keeps gaining. He gains and then settles into a pace for a little bit, then gains some more. 1.8 seconds between our leaders. I don't want to miss that battle, but Leclerc charging forward, getting to Mills. I feel like it's a matter of time before he's into 7th. It'll be another point gained, up to 14 points gained in the championship. And we're getting into the very late stages of this one. 4.5 minutes left to go. Plus 2 laps, of course, at the end. And it seems like everybody's absolutely ripping this track right now. So back to our lead group for just a moment at least. Tyler Lang out front. Just putting 2.45 a lap down. Excuse me. And Adam Holm is also working his way around as well. So he is now within that almost 2 second range, 2.3 seconds. It keeps yo-yoing a little bit. It seems like Holm catches him a lap and then loses time a lap and then catches him again, and that is going to lose him a lot of time. Holm goes down. Unbeknownst to him, Lang pulling away out front, watching the time go up as Holm regroups, and suddenly Carter, not too far off of the number 2, atom.com Cowie, coming from 3rd. Janice there 4th, Magnetti 5th, Hubbard 6th, Mills is still 7th. Leclerc has not been able to get around the 14 machines just yet. So is this perhaps where Leclerc's charge comes to an end? Or does he still have a few more passes in him before this one is over? 3 minutes and 2 laps remain. Lap traffic getting out of the way. I believe that is Jet Wisdom doing a very nice job there. Oh, lap traffic coming back on underneath of Leclerc. So Leclerc just trying to mind his business, not force the issue here. Sneaks up the inside, and he's still right there on Mills. I mean, there's not much in it, but Mills has done such a masterful job of pretty much matching the pace of Leclerc, which is a lot easier said than done. And now Leclerc is starting to inch back a little bit closer to the JDR number 14. Oh, Mills, front end tuck over the berm and down. So Leclerc finally breaks the dam and goes through into 7th. Mills will remount in 8th. So Mills back to 8th, Leclerc up to 7th. As mentioned, Hubbard 6th, Magnetti 5th, Janis 4th, Carter 3rd, Holm 2nd, and Lang continuing to lead as we are under a minute and a half plus 2 to go. So next time by, I would have to assume, unless Leclerc runs Lang, runs an absolute burner right here. We're gonna have the 2-lap board next time by. We'll have to see. Might be a good idea to stick with Lang as he continues to weave through lap traffic as well. He's got 3 or 4 guys right in front of him here, so gonna have to be methodical about this situation. Nicely done there. That might be Simo's on the 294. Don't have his skins, unfortunately, so don't know. That is the 64 there of Austin Bear. So he is moved out of the way very nicely. Boy, oh boy, it actually is going to come down very close with the clock. We've got 40 seconds left actually on the clock. I know the clock you guys see is a little bit ahead of that, so it'll expire before the clock that I'm seeing. We got 30 seconds on the clock now. Can Lang get there 20 seconds basically from the first turn to the finish? That is going to be really close. All right, 15 seconds to go. He's got 2 corners before the flag. Down to 10 seconds. He's got 1 right-hand kink in the sweeper. Oh my gosh, this is going to be very close. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. And oh, he gets taken down right before the flag, but does still cross the line. And that is going to be 2 to go because the screen had not switched over just yet, which means he did not clip that timing gate before the 30-minute mark had officially passed. So 30 minutes gone almost on the dot, and Lang gets the 2-lap board now. 6.3 seconds clear of Adam Holm. There is Carter. Janis just went down, and Magnetti gets into him, and oh, what a save for Luke Magnetti as he moves up to 4th. He's dealing with Ethan Parks, who he's trying to lap around the outside. Is that Castanet on the 65? And Janis has now closed right back up onto him because Magnetti is just trying to get around the lap traffic here, and he's having a tough time doing so. So Janis there on the 130, sensing an opportunity perhaps. To get back around Magnetti and get back into 4th. The 13 and the 130 in your program books. Currently battling it out for 4th on the racetrack here in the Czech Republic. Wow, Ethan Parks around the outside unlapping himself from Janis, and that has clearly not made Janis very happy. He is just trying to stay in touch here with Magnetti, and he keeps making small mistakes and then gets unlapped by lapped riders. So not a fun time right now for Janice. White flag is out, though, for race leader Tyler Lang. Here is Hubbard still behind them in 6th, and Leclerc is lurking. But as mentioned, time is expired at this point. I mean, he's going to come down to 1 to go next time by. He's only got 1 lap left to try to do some damage to Hubbard or to Janice, perhaps. Magnetti might be a bit too far, barring a crash. Whew, someone flying off the screen in the background there. But back to our race leader, Tyler Lang. Half a lap still to go. Not out of the woods just yet. Got to give credit to Adam Holm here, who has pretty much kept Lang at about arm's reach this entire time. 5.6 seconds down. And just was kind of waiting for a crash out of Lang that hasn't come. But good strategy nonetheless for Holm to keep it as close as he has. Not overridden himself at all. Obviously, he did get close at one point and had a fall here in this corner that Lang is going through, but can't fault him for pushing the envelope when he's on his tail. But in this situation, he closed it back a little bit, but at this stage, it will not be enough. Got 3 corners left to go. Tyler Lang going to get another race win, but he's got a lot of these this year and not many overalls to his credit. So he's going to try to back this up in Moto 2 and pick up the Grand Prix win today if he can. But at least for the time being, he stands atop here in the Czech Republic. Tyler Lang wins MXGP Race 1. Adam Holm crosses 2nd. It's Carter in 3rd. Magnetti 4th. And Leclerc up to 5th. So he has gotten around not only Matthias Janice, but Jacob Hubbard as well. And Hubbard has imploded on this last lap. He's nowhere near Leclerc anymore. So Leclerc gets up to 5th and will only lose 9 points in the championship in this one. Picks up 16 points in this moto, which means his championship lead will remain at 16 points, losing it 9 points from 25 down to 16. So 5th for Leclerc, 6th for Janice, 7th. Here will be Jacob Hubbard. 8th should be Chase Blakely. Daniel Mills behind him in P9. Caleb Hall still right there within a shot in 10th, trying to get Daniel Mills late in this one. Castaneda running in 11th, and Jeffrey Bruns, the first rider, a lap down in 12th. So let's stick with Hall here as he tries to keep Mills as close as possible and see if anything happens. Oh, and Hall's actually going to get taken down by a lapped rider. So no chance in the end. Blakely crosses the line, P8 behind Hubbard, who is 7th. Mills ends up 9th, and Caleb Hall will round out the top 10 here in Moto 1. Castaneda going to be 11th. Jeffrey Bruns 12th. 13th Bear. 14th was Brandon Larson. 15th for Ethan Parks. 16th Donovan. 17th Rockefeller. 18th LeBeau. 19th Simos. And 20th was Dylan Smith. Let's take a look at cuts. Looks like Ethan Parks got around Brandon Larson for 14th on cuts. Caleb Hall gets 9th on Daniel Mills. And wow, Carter drops from 3rd to 6th on cuts. Braden Carter with 17 seconds of cuts. Unbelievable. Goes from 3rd to 6th, which promotes Leclerc up to 4th. So actually only lost 7 championship points in this one. 18-point lead still for him. Adam Holm confirmed as 2nd. And Lang confirmed as your winner here in MXGP Race 1. All right, back in studio here, Kellen Brower in the booth, as we are now halfway through the night of racing here at the MX Simulator Grand Prix of the Czech Republic, or Czechia for short. They like going by Czechia lately, which I actually learned today was basically because they wanted to appeal a little bit easier to, I guess, just the world in terms of a global spectrum for English-speaking people. So Czech Republic sounds a little long. They wanted to sound closer to something like France, so they went with Czechia because it is actually the French Republic, but everybody calls it France. So shorthand version of Czech Republic is Czechia, which is why I've titled the stream the MX Simulator Grand Prix of Czechia, but it is still the Czech Republic. So there you go. Little history lesson for today. All right. MX2 Race 2 coming up next. We saw Payson Johnson win that first moto the first time out. Cooper Hunt did a good job to salvage, entered with a 20-point lead, still has a 15-point advantage, provisionally speaking, coming into this next moto after coming from 38th to 3rd. So we'll see if he can maybe turn that into a win in the second moto and at least stifle some of the momentum Johnson got back on him from that first moto win. Or will perhaps another fresh face like we saw Rasmus Balzer winning the French Grand Prix last week. He's not here this week, but other fresh faces could get into the mix and play spoiler. We saw Dylan Cavacuti have a great first moto. He was in the mix. Seth Carr also there as well. Luke Sullivan, I believe he ended up 7th. Devin Davis was 6th in there. You got Logan Leitzel finishing 4th. So a lot of guys can be a factor in this one, but it's going to be interesting to see where it all shakes down and who comes out as the winner here in about 35 minutes time. 30 minutes plus 2 laps set to go for MX2 Race 2 coming up. And see what's going on in the chat. What am I missing out on? Hollywood Wascom got lapped twice by Leclerc. What's my feeling on the Ivo Monticelli Hurlings crash? I mean, Monticelli did jump farther than anybody else around him, but if you watch all the race, you see that is like pretty common how far people were jumping off of that single out of that corner. So I can't necessarily like blame him for jumping as far as he did. Plus, there's no way he would have known Hurlings would jump that short. Hurlings would have jumped a little bit farther and definitely wouldn't have been landed on, but his whole shot device was still engaged when he actually hit the single. So the suspension kind of like had nothing to soak up when it hit with his front end on that single jump and pretty much came to a dead stop almost in the sand. And that's why he like kind of half rolled over it and then kept going. But I mean, yeah, it's a bummer. Like, I understand why Hurlings would be mad at Monticelli, but I think that's pretty much a racing incident. Like, you can't blame Monticelli for jumping as far as almost anybody else would in that situation. And you can't blame Hurlings because it was a mechanical issue, really. It was his whole shot device still stuck 3 corners into the race. So, yeah, is what it is. Bummer that Hurlings broke his shoulder blade. Crazy he still won the moto, but we'll see if he can get, recovered pretty quickly and maybe get back to racing soon. Hopefully not miss too much time. Ooh, Alex Blackshire, 133.4 on this track? Dang. Flying. Yeah, if you want to race it, head over to racefactorgaming.com. That's how you get involved in these races here. You make yourself an account, request a license. They review your license. Usually you start out with a B, I'm being honest, or maybe even a novice. But eventually you work your way up to an A license, which allows you to race 250 Class Pro. And once you've done that for a little while, they give you a pro license to race 450 Class Pro. All right, back to our live screen here. Make sure I got the moto label correct and the moto timer off so we can turn it back on before the race starts. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the MX2 race number 2. Live here on Start Your Systems. Ready to drop the gate here in Loket, the Czech Republic, round 7 of 12 in the 2021 Race Factor Gaming Grand Prix Championship. Who is going to get that all-important hole shot? and set themselves up to maybe win this second moto and perhaps the overall here on the day in the Czech Republic. We're looking at Trevor Burns down the inside. Let's try to find maybe somebody else. Luke Sullivan, he's up there as well. As the 30 card goes sideways, the revs come up, and the gate is down in the Czech Republic. Sullivan with an awful jump. So let's see from the outside, somebody getting in. It's going to be Johnson to the corner first. He's running a little deep, and Seth Shirley, 2 for 2, picks up the Race Tech Whole Shot Award. It's Shirley, Johnson, Cochran right there as well. The 167 of Blake O'Brien with a good start. As Shirley leads him to the top of the hill again, he's going to lead the first lap. 2 for 2 here tonight. Now let's see if he can hold on for long. Johnson trying to get to the inside at the top of the hill and take over the lead. Will get up the inside. Shirley tucks the front end, scrubs the rut into the corner, stays in second place, but Johnson is out front. Shirley now to second. Trent Adams moves to third. On the 43, you got Cochran right there as well. Blake O'Brien on the 167 as they funnel up the hill. First lap in. Don't see any sign just yet of the red plate holder, Cooper Hunt. No, Sullivan was kind of there in the mix from the get-go, but I don't see him anymore. Rough start for your fastest qualifier, Tyron Tomic, down in 42nd right now, as Johnson tries to sprint away at the front, and that makes the math very easy for us in terms of the overall. If Johnson can win this, and Shirley, same corner he crashed on the first lap of the race in Moto 1, goes down again here in Moto 2. Alec Horn goes down, so that promotes Trent Adams up to second. Cochran now into third. And Cavacuti into fourth. Remember Cavacuti, he was second in the first moto. So this is a good start for him as well if he looks to try to end up second overall on the day, as we still try to figure out where indeed Cooper Hunt is. Logan Leitzel, Seth Carr also inside of the top 5 in the first moto. Here's the 174 of Dylan Love. He's working on the 18 machine. Cooper Hunt 22nd currently on the timing and scoring sheets. So Cooper Hunt, just like the first moto, has a lot of work to do, has a little less work to do than he did in the first moto, but it's still plenty of ground to make up. Cavacuti drops down the hill. Dylan Love right behind him. There's Blake O'Brien on the 167. Logan Leitzel, he's well down the order as well. Saw him flash across the screen down in 32nd. So we'll have to find out where Seth Carr is and really work on these overalls here. Might someone like Devin Davis or Luke Sullivan get into the mix for an overall? Of course, Dylan Cavacuti pretty much locked in second overall on the day. Casey Cochran was 10th in the first moto, now runs in third here. Trent Adams on the 43. Let's see, he was able to come home in 20th in the first moto, excuse me. So Trent Adams only scored a lone point in the first moto. See Luke Sullivan P9, so that might be a shot for someone to get on the box here today. But they're all chasing Payson Johnson. 3 minutes in, 27 minutes, and 2 laps still to go. A lot of racing left. That does not mean that things are not pretty much status quo already, though. Johnson rarely gives up the lead from the front, especially when he gets a big lead early, which he's already doing quite a lot of here. So it's Johnson from Trent Adams. You got Casey Cochran, BPC number 62 right here as well. Dylan Cavacuti right there in the mix. And then Dylan Love to the outside with Blake O'Brien still right there on the 167. Behind them comes Braden Tharp on the 415, Phil's KTM, trying to double up the hill. There is Luke Sullivan. So first sign we've seen of him, as mentioned. Blake Wickland right behind him on the 113, Charles Gable, and Colton Hansen nose to tail. Aaron McDonald taking an exit stage left there. Gonna get on behind Trevor Burns. Jack Gatland also went through. And here is Cooper Hunt. So he's into the points. He's up to 14th, 139.6 last time by. And if you look at the map in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, he's actually not that far behind our race leaders. So that is going to be a big advantage for him. Speaking of race leaders, though, Payson Johnson had momentarily lost it. Trent Adams went to the lead for a second. I saw a flash of green and then back to white for Adams on the screen, which means he had the race lead, but something must have made a small mistake out of Johnson or something, and then We suddenly had Adams in the lead, then now Cochran's settling in right behind there as well. You got Dylan Cavacuti, so the top 4 pretty much nose to tail out front here. And oh, down goes Trent Adams out of second place. So that promotes Cochran to P2, Cavacuti up into third, and Dylan Love moves to fourth with Braden Tharp right behind him. Good battle here for fourth. Outside, nice move, Braden Tharp. I feel like that third rut is just a little bit deeper, and early on in this race, it plays to your advantage if you can kind of force the issue and really lay it into that rut there. You can see Trent Adams on the 43 got up right behind these 2, so he will now settle into the battle, or maybe he'll actually go down. Wow, actually, I think he pirouetted and saved it, but now he's behind Wickland. Going through is Luke Sullivan. So now Sullivan trying to catch up to Dylan Love, who is in 5th, Sullivan in 6th. Sullivan was 7th in Moto 1, but arguably had the pace to run inside the top 3. Just had a bad start, eventually got to 6th, and then lost it on cuts. Now going to work here on the 174 machine. Going to get around as well, so a mistake must have materialized there real quick for Love. Then you have Braden Tharp. There's Cochran and Johnson still leading the race. So Johnson, that must have been a fall-off crash that he had, because he was probably already 10 seconds out front and then suddenly lost the lead, got it right back. Still leads the race, didn't not lead a lap. So there's that. Oh man, Cochran almost into the rear there of the 515, I think that is. 515, who are they already putting a lap down here? Let's take a look. 515 of Jacob Kingsfield on the 811 moto. And then Frank Jackson, Team Nami, has already called it a moto. It seems it's Tharp down. There goes Sullivan into 3rd. Dylan Love into 4th, and Tharp trying to pick it up, still in 5th, but here comes Cooper Hunt. He's going to have a drive. And boy, oh boy, talk about salvage again here for Cooper Hunt outside of the points early in this one. Already knocking on the door potentially for a top 5 with Braden Tharp right in front of him. And now Tharp off the track, so that's going to be an easy 5th in the end. So next up, his 5.6 second gap up to Dylan Love. Dylan Love on the 174 Proline Designs Gas here. Going around Kingsfield as well on that 515, maybe? Question mark. That was a little bit dodgy. Sullivan into 3rd. Cochran still 2nd. And there is your leader, Payson Johnson. Getting froggy behind him, though. Oscar Manias, who has been way off his usual pace this week. Not sure what is up with the ride out of Spain on the 2-win factory KTM. Here's Jack Gatland, whose first moto did not go the way he had hoped whatsoever after running 2nd for so much of it. Ends up 14th. He kind of imploded a little bit late, if you will. And now it's going to work here on Blake Wickland. Wickland on that 113. The AEO Power Sports machine, and Gatland right behind him on his MXS Magazine GeoGuessr Yamaha. Rider down, that is Tharp again. Braden Tharp having no luck in the early stages of this one. Back-to-back early crashes, and gets freight trained by all of the atom.com Cowies and Nick Tomasunis as well. Tyron Tomic is also just behind this. But Shirley Nygren and Adams, all the atom.com Cowies went by. Oh, down goes Adams. Bad spot. And just missing there was Tomic. There goes Matherly on the 195. And Tharp must have gone down again because he is now coming through behind these guys. Oh, nearly contact there. Adams switches up his line, knifes the front end. 17 to Trevor Burns is going to make a pass. And Charles Gable also trying to stick his nose down the inside as well, but not going to quite get there in time. Everybody kind of switching lines up a little bit. Burns going to try to go up the inside here of Tharp into this turn to get that pass done, and he does so with ease. Here's Hunt, though. He has caught Dylan Love, and this would be for fourth. Dylan Love on that 175. Proline Designs gas, trying to hold on. But Hunt almost got up the inside. I thought he was going to take that inside rut. Instead settles in behind. Now what is he going to try to do? Ends up going to the right. He just kind of jumped over him. So Dylan Love maybe made a mistake and decided to back out of the throttle instead of getting landed on, because Hunt just hopped right over the top of him. So Cooper Hunt up into fourth. And battle for second materializing. There is Casey Cochran to the left of your screen, and Luke Sullivan right behind him. So this will be huge for Sullivan. Maximize his points effort if he can. Maybe still have a shot at Payson Johnson. I guess maybe. Johnson, have to see how far the gap is at this stage. It feels like it's probably already pretty big. Contact! Sullivan up the inside of Cochran, and down he goes. Cochran tried to shut the door. Sullivan was already in the air, couldn't control where he was about to go. Lands on Cochran, goes down, and the 62 machine continues on in second. Sullivan drifts back to third, and that is going to allow Cooper Hunt from fourth to close significantly on those two. And what it will definitely do as well is extend Johnson's lead out front. It actually wasn't that big, so they must have been pretty close. But then they got together, and it's now 7 seconds between Johnson and Cochran in second. Sullivan a couple more seconds back of that, and now Cooper Hunt only 16 seconds off of the race lead. So hey, this is kind of materializing perhaps into a bit different of a race than we saw in the first one. First one, Johnson gone. Nobody touched him. He pretty much just pulled out a gigantic lead and was never seen from again, but he's already lost the lead once, even though it was momentarily so. Could we see another moment out of the 351 Underground RC Kawasaki rider? Casey Cochran sliding the Yamaha over the top of that jump there. Oh, Hunt's up to third. Sullivan, another mistake. And the 20, your red plate holder, Cooper Hunt, has moved into third place. And I think, unofficially speaking, that should give him second overall. 3-3, because Dylan Love just put somebody over. Where is Dylan Cavacuti now? I know he was towards the front, but what happened to him? Am I missing something here? Where is Dylan Cavacuti? Huh. He is out of this race, and judging by where he is, he must have timed out. Wow. Yeah. Oh, that is so unfortunate for Dylan Cavacuti, who timed out of the server while in a pretty good position, was maybe on his way to a great position overall here. And unfortunately for him, he is not going to reap the benefits of another good start here in this second moto. So Johnson now continues to lead the race from Cochran. Then Cooper Hunt now moves up into third as Sullivan is trying to get him back. So Luke Sullivan not wanting to let the number 20 machine get away from him. They are passing the 310 there. Alec Horn? No, that's not Alec Horn. That is someone on Alec Horn's bike. It's Hayden Stevenson as Hunt has Sullivan land on his rear tire, and Sullivan goes down. Sullivan going to get up just as Dylan Love gets to the corner, but holds on to the fourth position there. Love now fifth. Tomic up to sixth. Gatlin 7th, Tomasunis is 8th, 9th for Cade Matherly and Seth Carr in 10th, but Holy freight train and a half here. You also have Trevor Burns, Seth Shirley, Brandon Igren, Blake Wickland. 8, 9 riders, nose to tail here. Oh, Seth Carr down off the outside of the corner. So Tomasunis and Matherly battling each other. Gatland just up the road. Thought Tomasunis clipped their tire there. Just in the background of them is Trevor Burns. And then that freight train, Seth Shirley, Nygren, Wickland, Charles Gable dropping down the hill. You got lap traffic coming into play. Blake O'Brien, Trent Adams. They're all still right here as well. Almost anywhere you turn right now, there's some good battles going on. But it is not a battle out front. 15 minutes and some change into MX2 Race 2. Payson Johnson controls the lead again, similar to his first moto here tonight. And we'll give you guys a top 20 rundown here halfway through this one, presented, of course, again by atom.com. Head over there, check out his music, his merch line, support his career. And we appreciate him coming on board with the broadcast this year. Payson Johnson, the 351 Underground RC Kawasaki, leads the race here from Casey Cochran on the BPC number 62 in second place. Cooper Hunt sits in third. The Underground RC number 20, your championship leader. Currently losing another 5 points towards Johnson in this one, but will still retain the red plate as it runs. Fourth for Luke Sullivan on the Phil's KTM number 11. And it's P5 still for Dylan Love, the Pro Line Designs number 174, by far his best moto so far this year. Tyron Tomic, the fastest qualifier, runs in 6th on the number 23. It's P7 for Trevor Burns, the Covenant number 17. Cade Matherly runs 8th on his Stance 195 Honda. 9th for Blake Wickland on the AEO Powersports 113. And 10th right behind him is Brandon Igren on that atom.com number 50. 11th for Seth Shirley, his teammate on that atom.com number 80. At 12th, Seth Carr, the 347 Underground RC Cowie. 13th for Nick Tomasunis on the MXLocker.com, or in his case, the MXLocker.dope 999 Yamaha. Or is that a Husky this week? It is a Honda. Huh. Been on the Yamaha all year. Switching it up on me. 14th here is Charles Gable, the privateer effort on the 88 machine. Jack Gatland runs in 15th on his MXS Magazine GeoGuessr Yamaha, the 369 machine. 16th is Trent Adams, the 43 atom.com Cowie. 17th for Chris Post on the 164 Team 2 Dope KTM. 18th for Blake O'Brien on the OVO 167. 19th is Braden Tharp on his Phil's KTM number 415. And 20th for Brett Powers, the General Insurance Wildside Designs number 40, also known as Donut MX on YouTube, holding down the final points paying position. Has been a top 20 rundown brought to you by atom.com. Whoa, Payson Johnson goes 12 o'clock on us, but corrals it together, doing his best. Ronnie Mack out front at the 18-minute mark of this one. Can afford to do so because doesn't have to worry about this battle for second that's getting hot and heavy. Cooper Hunt has caught Casey Cochran. Down goes the 108 machine, a lap down on the inside there. So Hunt has slowly but surely inched a little bit closer to Cochran, and is now going to work on trying to get around him for second, which will pull another 2 points back in the championship for him. Instead, he would only lose 8 points on the day to Johnson, entering with a 20-point lead in the championship. So we'll retain a 12-point lead in the championship. While else stays the same, there is Cochran, though, and here comes Hunt. So it's one thing to catch him, another thing to pass him. Does he have a spot already lined up to make it happen? These two are 11 seconds behind Johnson out front. Carrying speed around the outside. Both of them charging down the hill. Hunt electing to go far outside and underneath a lapped rider that was jumping back onto the track. Very close there. Cochran, big scrub at the top of the hill down by the mechanics area. Hunt just going to go up the inside and try to force a move. bar to bar, nearly rubbing elbows into the corner, and Cooper Hunt into second place. A good quick pass right there. Just kind of hooked that inside right out to the mechanics area. Got alongside Cochran. And as it was a back-to-back right-handed complex there, nothing Cochran could do into the next corner. Hunt had the line, the advantage, the nose, everything, and just took the line away to take over second place. But don't count out Casey Cochran just yet. He is still lurking there on that 62. So can he make something happen here to get back around Cooper Hunt on the 20? Certainly won't want to just let Cooper Hunt walk away with this one. And pace-wise, he's been pretty equivalent to Johnson and Hunt throughout this moto. Riders down, stacked on top of each other. That's a couple lapped riders, so Johnson maintains the lead, coming down to the finish line jump here to complete lap number 13 onto lap 14 with 20 minutes and some change elapsed in this one. And it does seem as though Hunt might have broken open just a tiny bit on Cochran. It's not quite as close as it once was. And that's usually the case when lap times are fluctuating about a second or two amongst each other in the favor of Cochran. And they are putting, is that the 27? It is, of Devin Davis, a lap down. So much rougher moto for the Fields KTM rider there this time through. Down in 22nd is Devin Davis. I'm curious, though. I want to check out lap times this time by to see if Hunt, who is 12 seconds down of his teammate, is comparing lap times at least with Johnson. If he can keep it close, run a similar pace, you never know. Johnson could have another fall-off crash or something along those lines. Does seem like he is slowly but surely extending the gap throughout this lap, though. It was 12.3 when we went on board, but now he just has a little mistake there, kind of lays it over. And Sean Hambrook almost went back by as he was being lapped. So what was out to almost it is out to a 13-second lead, at least from what we see. And now Hunt in the same spot that we just saw that mistake happen, slides out and allows Cochran back through. So Johnson out front, a small mistake, coming back up to the start line. I thought that would cost him some time, allow Hunt to maybe get it under 10 seconds. And then Hunt, 360s, sliding out, coming up through the exact same section about 10 seconds after that. So allows Cochran through back in a second, and the battle resumes. Oh, now Cochran down and Hunt down. That puts Luke Sullivan into second place. Slid his way through the downed riders into P2, and the 11 Fields KTM has now found his way up into that second position. And Cooper Hunt now settles back into third once again. And he does not want to go 3-3 here today. Obviously, he would like to win this second moto if possible, but at the very least get second and minimize the damage. Still, at least as it runs, will leave as the points leader, but will have lost basically half of his championship lead, down from 20 to 10 as it sits with 6.5 minutes and some change or so to go, plus 2 laps, of course. So now the pressure's on Sullivan. Can he keep it on 2 wheels and perhaps even charge up a little bit? Although Payson Johnson now 19.2 seconds out front with all of the chaos behind. Might be finally time to say that he is broken free from the group. Another Sullivan now second, Hunt third, and Cochran been in the top 5 the entire moto, but slides back to 4th. Tyron Thomas, your fastest qualifier here tonight, has had 2 awful starts, and it has really negatively impacted his opportunities with that fast qualifying time. So he's up to 5th now, but he is still pretty far back of Cochran in 4th, and 5th might be the best he can hope for at this stage. And another mistake, the same spot that we just saw Johnson and Hunt slide out. Tomic also went down there as well. So 3 of the top 5 riders had a mistake in the same spot. Almost wonder if there's an unexpected notch coming through that rut there that those guys are kind of bouncing off of as the track continues to wear down a little bit later in this race. It's Trevor Burns in 6th now. Seth Carr runs 7th. Seth Shirley is in 8th. Dylan Love has slipped back to 9th, so unfortunate for him. He was top 5 most of this moto. And, oh, teammates come together. Nygren in 10th has the 43 of Trent Adams, his teammate, run into his rear tire, basically, in the first turn and go down. And that also took Cade Matherly down as well. So Cade Matherly going to lose a spot as Charles Gable went by. And now Gable is going to have the 43 of Adams just ahead of him. Oh, Adams, a big mistake in a swap. Somehow crowded together for the corner. Nicely done there. So Sullivan still just ahead of Cooper Hunt. It's now over a 25-second lead up to Johnson, so it's really between these two to settle it amongst each other who is going to finish second in this moto. Doesn't impact the overall. Cooper Hunt's 3.3 is still going to be good enough for second. As Sullivan looking at a 7.2, which should be good enough for third. Again, Dylan Cavacuti, who was second in the first moto, lagged out of the server. Unfortunate for him. I believe it was a internet issue. Came in here and said exactly what it was, but missed out. Wi-Fi goes out is what he says. So yeah, unfortunate there for Cavacuti. But that will almost ensure Cooper Hunt finishes second overall. And it's just about whether or not he can get Luke Sullivan to get those 2 points back in his favor or not. Seems like he is losing a little bit of time to Sullivan, and Sullivan is not going to have to deal with any lap traffic here for a little bit at least. He's probably got 8 or 9 seconds to go before he hits another group of lapped riders, so that is not going to play in the hands of Hunt either, who ideally was hoping for another mistake out of Sullivan ahead of him. This one's stagnated a little bit. Top 5 is pretty equidistant. Tyron Tomic has lost that 5th position to Trevor Burns on the 17 as he goes up ahead of him. Seth Shirley, Seth Carr, Dylan Love had Blake Wicklund side by side with him, and Wicklund went down in the mechanics area. So Nygren on the 50 goes by. There's the 43 of Trent Adams, and the 351 of Payson Johnson just put them a lap down. So Adams should also be getting the blue bar here as well, and he is 1.0 seconds back to Johnson. And there goes Johnson, the race leader, by lapping up into the top 10. Next up for him would be Brandon Nygren, who he is also going to lap rather quickly. Nice big scrub whip off the table there for Johnson as he just continues to make it look a little too easy out front sometimes. It's impressive what he can do late in these motos. And here we go. Cooper Hunt has caught Luke Sullivan again. The yo-yo between the two continues. Sullivan opens up a gap, loses the gap, opens the gap. Now has lost the gap again, and this is Hunt's opportunity to pounce if he wants it. If he wants this second place, now is the time for the taking. Almost got a nose in there at the bottom of the U-turn. Big table at the top. And then they'll go left, right here. So not many opportunities for passing just yet. Hunt is ideally eyeing up an opportunity to just shoot down the inside quickly, like we saw him do on Cochran to get into second place initially, and not fuss too much around with Sullivan potentially maybe going down, bringing him with him. So it happened when Cooper Hunt made a small mistake. Cochran went back ahead of him, then tucked a front end coming into a corner. Hunt hit him and went down. So doesn't want to repeat here if Sullivan makes another mistake right in front of him. But it doesn't seem like Hunt actually has been able to stay close enough just yet, as Sullivan has stretched it back out just a little bit here in the closing stages of this one. We got 20 seconds left on the clock. All right, battle for second continues. Sullivan coming down the hill. Cooper Hunt into the hay bale on the side of the track. Rode the nose into the face of that tabletop and just was able to corral it back underneath of him. This was his spot last time. Inside here, heading up to the race deck table, but just not close enough again. So what is going to work? Seems like he's better on the second half of this track. Sullivan, is not quite as good here, but now Hunt blows the corner there and loses another 2 or so seconds. Time has expired. Johnson, 2-lap board would have just come out for Johnson, who just went down with the race lead, but he is, again, very far out front, so it doesn't make a difference. And Sullivan, again, seems to be a little bit better through these first couple of sections, although he just had Jack Gatlin go down right in front of him. And I don't even see where Gatlin is, so I wonder if Gatlin maybe just rage quit in that crash. Sullivan comes down, checks in across the line again in second place onto lap 20. This guy's running a full main event out here. Gonna do 21 laps when all is said and done at this one. And Cooper Hunt keeping a keen eye there on Sullivan. Oh, is that Sean Hambrook launching off the track in the background, I think? Riders are going every which direction. Speaking of every which direction, Sullivan goes down. So Hunt takes over second place and didn't need to do any work to do it either. Sullivan just out of the corner, swapped out and high-sided. Off the bike he goes, and remounts still in third, but Hunt maximizing that points tally as mentioned. 3-2 on the day from 2 bad starts. First time we saw him in this one, he was 22nd. We also heard he came from 38th in the first moto to finish third. So definitely getting the RC Hard Charger Award if that existed in MX Simulator. Meanwhile, white flag is waving. Payson Johnson is on his final lap of the race, on his way to the rebound of all rebounds. 1-1 performance in his first week back in action here at the Czech Republic. 45-second lead. Dominated the first moto. Dominating the second moto again. And, just nudging riders out of the way as he comes through. But this is the kind of response that he needed, that we expected out of Johnson today. And is going to gain another 8 points towards Hunt in the championship. So it's not good enough yet to overhaul and take the championship lead, but chipping away slowly but surely. After this round, we have 5 rounds remaining, and Johnson will have 10 more motos still to try to get those points back on his teammate. But for now, it's all about soaking this one up, enjoying the racetrack, enjoying the speed that he's carrying all the way around this Loket circuit in the Czech Republic, and most certainly enjoying a 1-1 performance, and a very solid one at that. 2 more corners to go, and now just 1 turn. Lap traffic trying to get out of the way one final time, but he's done it here in the Czech Republic. Payson Johnson wins the MX Simulator Grand Prix of Czechia. Here is Hunt, though, lapping Trent Adams. Sullivan is still back there just in case Hunt makes a mistake, or, as we saw in the MXGP race, 17 seconds of cuts for Braden Carter cost him 3rd, and he finished 6th. So almost, if you're Sullivan here, just stay close. And maybe, just maybe, Hunt had one too many off-track excursions to really tally up against his favor here. He has been flirting with the side of the track a couple occasions here since we've come on board with him. But at least for the time being, great effort here to claw back the points that he needs to hold on to the championship lead, which he will do. He will retain the red plate, does Cooper Hunt. Second overall on the day here. And Luke Sullivan's 7-3 should be good enough for third. Casey Cochran going to go 10-4 here in this moto. Trevor Burns lapping Devin Davis. Trevor Burns didn't have the best first moto, 11th in that one, so he'll end up going 11-5. Tyron Tomic had to come from way back in both motos. Was your fastest qualifier though, so he can hang his hat on that. Actually didn't even score points in the first moto, 25th in the first one, so a 6th place here will be a welcome sign. Seth Shirley, first rider lap down in 7th there. 8th for Seth Carr, 9th for Wicklund, 10th Matherly. Let's just go down the order because cuts are about to come in, so we'll see what they materialize to be. So Sean Hambrook ends up 20th, 19th for Logan Leitzel, 18th Brett Powers, 17th Chris Post, 16th Charles Gable, 15th was Neil Fitzpatrick, 14th for Trent Adams, 13th for Brandon Nygren, 12th for Blake O'Brien, 11th was Dylan Love, and then Matherly Wicklund jumped around Seth Carr into 8th, Shirley 7th, Tomic 6th, Trevor Burns ends up 5th, Cochran 4th, 3rd for Luke Sullivan, 2nd goes to Cooper Hunt, and your winner, Payson Johnson. And I'll tell you what, Cooper Hunt had 1.55 seconds of cuts, which was just enough to remain 0.195 seconds ahead of Luke Sullivan on corrected time at the end of this one. So close call, but Hunt does still hold on to second and will carry a 12-point lead into round 8 in 2 weeks' time on August 9th. All right. MX2 race 2 done. One race left to go on the night, and it is MXGP race 2 as always. Whew, what a night of racing so far. Also, have a lovely evening, Jay Helmsy. I see you're heading out as it is almost 5 a.m. where you are, so thank you for hanging in. I appreciate you sticking by watching the show. Appreciate all you guys sticking by and watching the show. It's been good racing so far here tonight, and I think you guys have enjoyed it so far. I've definitely enjoyed it. So got, who we got? We got Adrian here. He's from Slovakia, so he's hanging out, having a good time. Amish Ramsey is also from Slovakia, so we got the Slavs here hanging out, having a good time. RaceRat66, always a good time to see you here, buddy. Got Trenton Eichelberger. Kevin Vandekeer. I feel like that's a foreign name as well. We got Viges. We got Jaden the OG. Alex Blackshire. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Hopefully you're enjoying the racing. One more to go. MXGP Race 2 coming up. And Leclerc, who ended up losing only 7 points to Lang in that first one to retain an 18-point lead in the championship, is going to need to basically get a better start. Maybe almost had the whole shot in the first one. Took a risky outside gate pick to try to swoop into the first corner, and it didn't work. So he got a little bit shoved around there, made contact with Colby Eaglin. They both went down, and we're going to see whether or not he elects to do that same strategy this time through with an outside gate selection, or does he go far inside and kind of let things be what they may. This is a tricky start because it's uphill into basically a blind corner, so you don't really know when is a good time to actually get on the brakes and get stopped for the turn. But obviously for Leclerc's sake, it just didn't work out in the first moto. Let's see what he can do here this time through. Absolutely, Seth Shirley. What's up, Corentin? How are you, man? Been a while. I haven't talked to you in a while. 4:45 in Slovakia. Oy. How do you say that word you guys are saying? I feel like that's how you're saying hi. Is it ahoy? Ahoj? All right. What's going to happen in this 450 race? Adam Holm, he's also looking for a Grand Prix win. Can he do it? His teammate Jeffrey Bruns running into him. Yeah, there you go, Seth Shirley. 2 top 10s, definitely can't complain. That's a solid night at the races. I think you'll be, what, probably a little bit bummed that you hole shot both motos and then crashed in the same corner twice, both motos. But I mean, hey, you know, still 2 top 10s, so it's pretty good. All right. There's Leclerc looking to get a better start this time through. We'll see. I'm good, Corentin. Those guys in chat from Slovakia were saying ahoj or ahoy, I guess, maybe? Not sure. Probably saying it wrong. Apologies. Let's go back to our live screen here and get ready to drop the gate on the final race of the night, though. Whoops, there we go. All right, let's see what happens. I want to check out Leclerc again and see what he does this time through. Where is he? Here we go, final race of the night. MXGP Race 2 is off. Several riders hit the gate again. I don't see Leclerc. I think he's pretty far outside again. He's actually gotten way out, jumped by several riders, and he's going to end up far outside. Getting the hole shot is Braden Carter on the number 19 Phil's KTM, a guy that has gotten no good starts all year long. Finally rips a hole shot, and we'll see what he can do with it. That is your current Supercross champion in the game, leading here on the end of lap number 1. Lawson Dye coming through. He's in second, right there with Luke Magnetti third, Caleb Hall fourth, and Adam Holm inside of the top 5. Brady White 6th, Donovan 7th, and Leclerc better start in 8th. Blakely 9th, and Hubbard rounds out your top 10. Jeffrey Bruns 11th, LeBeau 12th. Tyler Blowers here in 13th, getting passed though by Hollywood Wascom. So Wascom up to 13th, 14th are Larson, 15th Blowers now. Castellaneta, there is Lang. Lang is now down into, looks like he just moved into 17th. So a much different turn of events as we saw Leclerc about in this position last time out. And Lang with a fairly good start. This time Leclerc ends up in 8th off the start, trying to go around the outside of Chase Blakely, and will do so. Working on Chase Donovan there. Brady White just ahead. Adam Holm, Caleb Hall, Lawson Dye, Luke Magnetti, and Carter. So Magnetti into second place early on. Was third in the first moto, so this is going to play into his favor a little bit. Having Leclerc, Lang a little bit further down. You still have Holm pretty close, but Magnetti trying to win a Grand Prix here. You also have Braden Carter, who definitely had third place locked down in the first moto. Actually did finish across the line in third, but then 17 seconds of cuts. Not something you see very often. Dropped him down to 6th, so he is going to need some help to go 6-1 for an overall on the day. But I've seen crazier things in sim before. And very early stages here of MXGP Race 2. Magnetti is lurking as your race leader remains. Braden Carter as he jumps up to the mechanics area. Magnetti, Hall, and then Holm in tow. Holm is trying to work on the 45 Underground RC machine ahead of him. Then Lawson Dye has Leclerc on the number 1 closing behind him for 5th. So Hall might know Leclerc is coming and might not want to wait too long. But Hall, oh, contact. Adam Holm wasting no time. And Leclerc almost into the back of Hall. Now Lawson Dye having to deal with the pressure as Hall and Leclerc coming down the hill. Caleb Hall goes a little bit deep. Up the inside comes Leclerc. He's going to get around Caleb Hall. Also going to try to get around Lawson Dye. Dye has the inside advantage here. Middle rut move for Caleb Hall. Lawson Dye loses 2 spots as Leclerc goes around the outside to get that pass done. So Adam Holm was trying to maybe get away from Leclerc before he could get to him, but suddenly Leclerc is all over Adam Holm. And this is going to be a battle for third with Carter, Magnetti just up ahead. Leclerc 7 seconds off of the lead. And we are trying to keep tabs on where exactly the number 4 machine of Tyler Lang, your Moto 1 winner, is coming to the end of lap 3. Leclerc already on Adam Holm. Lang up to 12th, 20 seconds off the lead. So only about 12 seconds off of Leclerc here. And your two most recent MXGP world champions trying to battle it out here at Loket. Leclerc charging down the inside, blows the inside rut though, and can't quite make the pass just yet. They both launch out to flat up the mechanics area here. Holm goes defensive. Leclerc outside in, trying to get to the inside on Holm. Will do so and has to hop the rut to get in front of him. So Holm wisely backed out of the challenge, and Leclerc up into third. So Leclerc moves into P3 as Holm settles back in behind him now. And Leclerc is also going to try to put eyes ahead of him to see Magnetti and eventually Carter up the road to try to run them down for the race lead. At this point, overalls are definitely going to be scattered a little bit. We'll have to see how it plays out by the middle stages of this race before we start figuring that all out. But if we go back to Lang here, looks like he has made his way into the top 10, now is 10th. Chase Blakely, next rider ahead of him, 38.8, followed up with a 38.7. His best lap of the race so far, so definitely not running the pace that he's capable of in traffic, but now has some free space ahead of him currently, and that is going to afford him the opportunity to maybe push the pace a little bit more and not allow the leaders to stretch it out too much. Finish up this lap and get a lap time check for our top 10, see where everybody's hovering around coming up to the end of lap 4. So everybody will have done 3 official full laps. Dropping down the hill, Lang crosses the line, a 38.1 Tyler Lang, 36.7 Chase Blakely ahead of him, 38.4 out of Austin LeBeau running in 8th. 7th, Chase Donovan, 39.2. A 41.1 for Lawson Dye. He's running in 6th. 5th at a 39 flat is Caleb Hall. 45.3 for Braden Carter, who has lost the race lead. Adam Holm at a 37.4 is in 3rd. Alexis Leclerc at a 35.1 is up to 2nd. And a 37.3 out of Luke Magnetti, who has assumed the race lead. And at least for the time being, his 3-1 scores are good enough for the overall win. A lot of racing left, and this is going to be so interesting if and when Leclerc gets to him. How Magnetti responds. Because Leclerc is coming, no question about it. 6.5 minutes into this final race of the night, MXGP Race 2 from the Czech Republic. And you can see Leclerc. Boy, I think this lap time is going to be sub 134 maybe, with how fast Leclerc is catching up to Luke Magnetti, flowing so smoothly. The track is weathered in about perfectly for this time. And Leclerc puts down a 135.4, so actually not gaining as much as I thought, but a 136.1 out of Magnetti, so he upped his pace. That was 7/10 gain that last lap alone, though, for Leclerc. Magnetti trying to respond to the pressure, but Leclerc is just so good. It's so hard to fend off the challenge that Leclerc puts on, because it just seems like he just willingly pulls chunks of time against you. So can Magnetti hold this one steady for a few more laps, or is Leclerc going to make quick work of him for the lead? Less than a second in it now. Alexis Leclerc going to go inside in this turn. Leads him to the outside here. Carries speed all the way around the outside to get a good drive up the hill. And now you can definitely see the battle for the lead is materialized on screen. Magnetti inside defensive. Leclerc follows him in. Little mistake there for Magnetti. Actually a little bigger mistake for Leclerc. Doesn't lose too much time though. He's just off screen there. There he is. And lap traffic also going to come into play a little bit here. They are catching, can't quite see the number of that rider there. But Leclerc is all over Luke Magnetti for the race lead. Looks like Lang has dropped a spot to, actually he's still 10th. He just hasn't gotten around Austin LeBeau yet. 131 nicely moving out of the way. I assume that's Leon Tai. Not 100% sure though. And oh, Leclerc just He's launching almost the whole distance of the mechanics area at the top of the hill with the insane drive he gets out of the bottom of the racetrack there all the way to the top. And it just seems like at any moment he's going to pounce, but when that moment will come, always so tough to tell with Leclerc. It seems like there's certain opportunities where he's really feeling a certain location, a line, something like maybe right here. Inside to outside. Magnetti's going to have to go defensive. Leclerc with a charge around the outside. There's side-by-side dualies over the race tech table at the top of the hill. And Leclerc takes over the lead here in the Czech Republic. Magnetti had no response for Leclerc's insane charge around the outside. Talked about it in that first moto with Leclerc's setup. Always seems to get a little bit more power to the ground than everybody else. And right there, it worked to his advantage. So Leclerc to the lead. Magnetti settles back into second. 10 minutes have elapsed in MXGP Race 2. 20 minutes and 2 laps remain. Adam Holmes sitting in third. Caleb Hall sits fourth. Braden Carter up to fifth. Chase Donovan sits sixth. Blakely seventh. Lawson Dye eighth. Lang right behind them in ninth. Oh, look at that move for Lang up the inside of Lawson Dye. Almost unsuspecting to what Lang was doing. He was just kind of massaging his way through the corner, really, and then just cut back up underneath and had a great move to get around Lawson Dye. Next up, he is going to try to catch Blakely, but Blakely has been running a blistering pace in his own right. 1.5 second lead now for Leclerc on Magnetti. Blakely has moved up to sixth. Lang up to seventh. So Lang at least needs to get into fourth to make sure that Leclerc doesn't actually gain any points on him for the day. But of course he would like to get up to third or second, or maybe even still win this moto to actually net gain some points on Leclerc. 7 points gained in the first moto. But right now Leclerc gaining them all back and then some. I'll tell you what, though, Luke Magnetti does not want to let go of the number one machine out front. 136 flat, so he ran his best lap of the race as Leclerc passed him. And now, in pretty much clean air still here, is going to put down a 135.4 to a 134.7. So Leclerc's still putting down some just stupid fast laps out front. But Magnetti kind of matching him a little bit here, losing a little bit of ground that last lap, but it's not getting too far away. At least for the time being, 1.8 seconds in it. And sometimes that's all it takes against a guy like Leclerc, who is so often used to the fact that he can get out front and pull away in a hurry. If you can keep him close and make Leclerc maybe look at the pit board 1 or 2 more times than he normally would to see the gap, maybe just maybe you force him into an error. So Magnetti trying to keep this gap as close as possible. Maybe he's learning some lines from Leclerc as well. He saw how this outside line worked for Leclerc, getting on the gas, powering up the hill. Leclerc's still doing just a little bit better through those 2 corners to pull out the gap to 2.5 seconds now, but Magnetti is definitely very conscious of how big that gap is and how far Leclerc is ahead, and has done a pretty good job of at least tying the lines together, and now brings it back down to 2.1. Oh, but he tucks the front end in the first corner and goes down. That is what happens when you're pushing the pace, trying to match Leclerc. Going through is Adam Holm. And 2-2 is going to be good enough for the overall win as it stands. A 4-1 out of Leclerc is not enough to overtake Holm. He will lose the overall by 1 point if Holm stays second. Magnetti looking at 3-3 scores, obviously. So then it boils down to where Lang can get. If Lang can get into third, he would obviously win the overall with a 1-3. Run seventh, at least for the time being. And he is all over Chase Blakely, so he's been right here for a while. Then you got Chase Donovan just ahead of them, so it's kind of how Lang can manage this battle and how quickly maybe he could get through. Blakely has been so good, though, at defending these attacks from Tyler Lang to this point. Little mistake there. Lang trying to square back off up the inside. Oh, man, it was really close right there. And Donovan, just ahead of these guys, is like, forget about that. I am trying to get away from this battle as best as possible. There it is, though. Lang finally shuts the door on Blakely and goes through into 6th. Next up for him, he'll try to get up to Chase Donovan for 5th. And as mentioned, if he can get to 4th, he at least ties Leclerc on the day for the points as they run. So I think he is still hoping he can get up into 3rd at least and maybe win this overall. But at least 4th is got to be a goal for Lang here, and working on 5th place right now. Chase Donovan just ahead of him. This is a good ride for Donovan so far. Oh, mistake for Lang, and that might cost him another position. No, Blakely slides it into the turn and cannot quite get around Tyler Lang. So Lang, who was closing up on Donovan, makes a mistake, but then closes right back up on Donovan again. And I think that's Caleb Hall in 4th, just ahead of these guys, and Hall goes down. That is going to move Donovan into 4th, Lang into 5th, and now Lang should seize the opportunity to get around Donovan here up the inside, and that is P4 for Tyler Lang. So now is matching Leclerc for the day. 1-4 Lang, 4-1 Leclerc, then a 2-2 for Holm, and a 3-3 for Magnetti. So your top 4 from the first moto are the exact same top 4 again right now. They are just a little bit jumbled up from what we saw. Leclerc's lead 6.7 seconds on Holm. Magnetti has lost a ton of ground, 13 seconds ahead of Lang, but 15 some odd seconds behind Adam Holm. And wouldn't that be something if Adam Holm could catch his old nemesis, Alexis Leclerc? Oh, Ryder going down in front of Lang. He kind of bumps into him and pushes him out of the way. That was very fortunate it didn't take him to the ground. And now Blakely right up there behind Lang again, and Lang is certainly pushing the pace, trying to get away from Chase Blakely. But as we've said all night, easier said than done. Does seem like Lang is stretching it out just slightly now on Blakely. Looks like he's got just about a second in it. And here comes Magnetti the other way in 3rd place down to the finish line jump. So as we have a momentary lapse in the battles on screen, let's give you guys a top 20 rundown. This time brought to you again by RJerky. Head over to eatrjerky.com and use the code SYS20, SYS20 for 20% off your order at eatrjerky.com. And please use that code. Let the Wageman brothers know that the sim community supports their involvement here in the Race Factor Gaming National broadcast on Start Your Systems. Alexis Leclerc leads on his number 1 Rockstar Energy Husqvarna factory racing machine. The defending world champion 4.4 seconds ahead of Holm, and that gap is coming down. Adam Holm, atom.com, number 2, your 2019 MXGP world champ, trying to win the overall today. But he doesn't want to just win the overall. He wants to win this race, and he is closing up on Leclerc down to under 4 seconds, and this is going to get good, folks. Let's check out Luke Magnetti in 3rd on his BPC number 13, 4th for Tyler Lang on the Underground RC number 4, P5 for Chase Blakely on the BPC number 21, and then 6th for Braden Carter on the Phil's KTM number 19. 7th is Braden Castaneda on the number 12 Underground RC Kawasaki. 8th for Chase Donovan, Proline Designs number 73. 9th for Lawson Dye on the Stance, number 178. And P10 belongs to Caleb Hall on the Underground RC, number 45. His teammate Matthias Janis on the 130 Cowie right behind him as they battle it out for 10th. 12th is Austin LeBeau on the atom.com, number 518. 13th for Jacob Hubbard on the Phil's KTM, number 778. 14th for Brady White, the 615 machine. And 15th for Ethan Parks on the SYS Racing Heckman Productions Honda. 16th for Hollywood Wascom on the Waffle House machine. 17th for Jeffrey Bruns, atom.com 333. And 18th for Aaron Rockefeller on the Underground RC number 65. Riders going down ahead. That will promote Brandon Larson on the Stance Honda, the 245 machine, up to 17th. Rockefeller settles into 18th. Austin Bear moves to 19th on the Phil's KTM number 64. And Hollywood Wascom rounds out your top 20. That's a top 20 rundown brought to you by our Jerky. Back to our leaders. There's Leclerc. And there is Holm, giving an indication of the gaps right there. Leclerc just at the end of the straightaway as Holm enters through the first complex. Approaching 20 minutes into this one. And this is the closest Adam Holm has been all year to stamping a GP win to his name again. So if he can just stay in second, it is his. But he definitely wants to win this moto. And at the very least prove that he still has the pace to run down and pass Alexis Leclerc, which he definitely did have that pace at one point in his career. Those two had arguably the greatest championship fight in MX Simulator history back in 2018 in the National Championship, which quite literally came down to the very last corner of the race. Alexis Leclerc took out Adam Holm in the final corner of the second moto of the Ironman National to win the championship then, but Holm has taken over the lead here. Leclerc was down. So Leclerc somehow ended up backwards and off the bike coming down the hill there. I wonder if he just maybe got the rut wrong and hopped out of it, slid out, and went down, but that has promoted Holm into the race lead. And now Leclerc has to do the chasing. And this is going to obviously help Lang's case because Lang was in a position where he was only tying Leclerc. Now he is gaining 3 more points on Leclerc, as Leclerc just lost 3 points. So the 25-point lead entering the championship, or entering the day in the championship fight, is down to a 22-point lead. As Leclerc goes back to work on running down Adam Holm. And let's do lap time check. So 35.6 was Leclerc's time last time by. Holm did a 36.1 prior to this. Now out in the lead, 38.3. Leclerc obviously with his crash, a 44.8. And 2 seconds in it between our leaders. Although Leclerc just made a small bobble right there. Leclerc coming into the corner, right there behind Adam Holm. And the gap is extending a little bit, 2.6 seconds now. Does seem like Holm might be in the zone a little bit right now. Kind of get into a flow of the race where you feel like you can just hit your marks and it's so easy and it comes to you naturally and you can attack the corners and everything just works. And often that happens when you're chasing somebody, not when you're leading. So for Holm, he was chasing Leclerc. He was trying to bring that gap down. He was doing so pretty well. And then Leclerc went down and Holm has kind of kept that same intensity level and has now stretched that gap out to almost 3 seconds on Leclerc. So with just over 7 minutes and 2 laps to go in this race, Leclerc has got it all to work for here. Because he's not even straight up catching Holm anymore. He has got to turn the ship around a little bit and put the power back to the ground and run down the number 2. It's not going to be for the overall win, but points salvage-wise, and it does seem like he has already done what he needs to do in terms of putting the power to the ground because that gap has shrunk immediately down to 1.1, 36.4 last time by for Leclerc. Mistake for Holm. He did a 37.3. Leclerc is going to be right on him coming to the bottom of the hill. Who's going to get the drive out up to the mechanics area? Launching at the top of the hill to flat and Holm in and out of the tough blocks. These two old nemesis and Leclerc up the inside. Somehow hooks that inside rut, drops into the line ahead of him and takes over the lead again. And now it's Holm's turn to respond, and he was doing so very nicely. It seemed like this last lap was really where it started to fall apart a little bit. Now let's see if he can close back in. A little bobble up the inside for Leclerc. They both tuck to this inside line and then feed to the outside. Actually, Holm up the inside there. They both got pretty equal drives. And there's still just nothing in it with 6 minutes and 2 laps still to go. Holm might be banking on another small mistake if he can keep Leclerc honest. We talked about it a little bit with Magnetti early in the race, keeping Leclerc close. And Holm knows exactly how to get under Leclerc's skin because they have raced each other so many times in the last 4 or 5 years. Oh, contact with the lapped rider, and down he goes. He hopped the rut, did Adam Holm out of the first corner there, and the lapper was just kind of sitting there and nothing Holm could do about it. Gets collected and loses all of that time. So Leclerc all alone out front. Holm now back to second. Magnetti still third, and Lang down in fourth. It's the same top four again that we saw a moment ago. Back to Blakely in fifth. And then we got Castellaneta sixth. Janice seventh. Donovan back here still inside of the top 10 in P8. Brendan Carter, I was told, ran a 33. His best lap a 33.6, but must have had 2 fall-off crashes in the last couple of laps here. 54.1 last time by, down in 9th. And remember, Carter, he would have finished 3rd in the first moto if it was not for cuts, but now dropped down to 6th because of the cuts, and now back to 9th in this moto. So it's not quite the day Carter was hoping for, especially after hole-shotting the second moto and probably feeling like he had the pace to maybe go out and win the whole shebang, but couldn't quite keep the KTM underneath of him for the entire time. So back to Leclerc out front, and coming up to 4 minutes and 2 laps to go. This is going to be crunch time for Leclerc to try to button down a little bit and not make another mistake. Doesn't have a big lead that he can afford to go down again. He has an 11-second lead, but that is pretty much exactly what it takes if you have one fall-off crash. So Leclerc really has to try to put in the laps here in these last maybe 5 laps we have still to go. Someone on a 2-stroke on the inside of the track there, allowing everybody to go through. Looks like he just put Caleb Hall a lap down. Where is Caleb Hall? Caleb Hall is behind Hubbard and that is Carter, just ahead of them in 11th. So teammates, Hubbard and Carter are kind of going at it right now, battling one another for 9th. And it looks like Carter may have momentarily lost the spot to Hubbard, but now stretches it back out. Hubbard scrubbing down the hill there. And the top 10 are the only riders still on the lead lap, as Leclerc is lurking in the shadows as Hubbard 360s and hops back in front of Leclerc. Hops back in front of him again. So Hubbard's trying to kind of stay out of the way. Leclerc's having to weave through. And now Leclerc puts P10 a lap down. Braden Carter, then Donovan. Pretty lonely 8th spot for him. 7th, Janice. Castellaneta P6, Blakely in 5th, Lang 4th, but he has definitely caught Magnetti by quite a bit in these last few laps here. It's now just a 3-second gap there or thereabout, maybe out to 4 seconds, 4.2. So this would be crucial for Lang, specifically because not only does it gain points back towards Leclerc, but it actually bumps him into the overall Grand Prix win, even if a 2-2 is still what Holm gets. So maybe that is why Holm was trying so hard to get Leclerc, because he figured Lang might still have a shot at getting Magnetti before this is over, which has turned out to be pretty true. With 2 minutes still on the clock, 4 seconds in it, Magnetti has kind of stagnated the gap a little bit, and a mistake there for Lang, so it's out to almost 6 seconds now. But you just never know. Magnetti could still have another fall-off crash in him, or perhaps a slide-out or 2. He's in lap traffic right now. He just got around 2 riders, still has 1 more to get through. But then, of course, Lang will have to navigate through those riders as well. And time set to expire here in 1 minute and 15 seconds. 13.4 seconds up to Holm, who is still in P2. And then another 11 or so seconds up the road to Leclerc, who remains the race leader. So our closest battle in the top 5 at least is Lang trying to run down Magnetti. 4.6 seconds adrift of him. Looks like Janice might be finally closing up to his teammate Braden Castellaneta. That would be for 6th. As Janice, who was 5th in the first moto, trying to tally some good points on the day. Kind of the rest of the field seems like they're a little bit spread out. Oh, Lawson die here in front of Lang. Oh, and a big swap out for Brett Thomas. Lang is trying to weave through lap traffic. I think that was Carter that just flipped in front of these guys and went down. Oh, Magnetti's off the track at the end of the rhythm section. That's going to allow Lang to close up quite a bit. 2.8 seconds in it now. And time is going to expire right now. 30 minutes on the clock. Race leader Alexis Leclerc is about halfway around the track, so 2-lap board coming out next time by. So these guys are going to do 22 laps as opposed to the 21 that the 250 class did. Gives you an indication of maybe the total race time difference a little bit. Oh, Lang jumping all the way out to the tough block there at the top of the hill. Down to 2.4 seconds. He's still pushing the pace. And Magnetti definitely at this point cannot afford another little mistake like he just had there going off the track. Lang now down to 2 seconds even, but he just kind of blew the rut at the bottom of the hill, and that's going to be a long drive up the hill. So lost a half second in the end. Lap traffic doing a nice job to move out of the way as Magnetti goes through. I think that's actually Lang's teammate there. That is Caleb Hall indeed. So 2-lap board out as Leclerc crosses the line out front. Adam Holmes still occupies second as he's coming down to get the 2-lap board right about now. And Lang and Magnetti, 4th and 3rd respectively, are still trying to decide who is going to get 3rd in this race and thus basically decide the overall. It's not as though Magnetti would win the overall by finishing 3rd, but he is holding Lang from winning it by finishing 3rd in this moto. So Lang is trying so hard to get Magnetti for a 1-3 performance, which is better than the 2-2 out of Holm, the 4-1 out of Leclerc, and the 3-4 that would come out of Luke Magnetti. And that gap continues to come down. You can very clearly see Magnetti in front of Lang here. 1.1 seconds in it now. Battle for 3rd place. And a battle for the overall is on your screen right here. Lang all over the rear tire of Luke Magnetti for 3rd. With a lap and a half still to go here at Loket. So he has some time. Doesn't need to force the issue. And Magnetti goes down. Oh, just couldn't get to the inside rut and was pushing the front tire all the way in. Tucks the front end and goes down. So now that puts Lang in position for the overall win, and the only way it flips hands again is if Magnetti either gets back around Lang for 3rd or Adam Holm gets Leclerc for the lead. Leclerc is going to take the white flag this time by. There it is there, the white flag waving. And Holm, 9.1 seconds down, 2-2 scores on the day. Not going to be enough to overthrow the 1-3 out of Tyler Lang that is currently laid down on the table. But a 2-1 obviously would do the job. So he has just got to hope Leclerc has one more fall-off crash in him. And hey, there's a couple lapped riders right ahead of him right now. So we'll see. That is, I think, Ethan Parks. And I didn't get a glimpse at who else. Down to 7.8. So Leclerc inching up slowly but surely on this group of lapped riders. I think he's honestly maybe just trying to play it safe and not get to them if he can. But it's Castellaneta and Parks, who I don't believe are battling for position. I think Castellaneta's in 6th and Parks is in 16th or 17th. Parks moves out of the way, and Parks is indeed in 17th. Austin LeBeau just went down. That might be a spot for him. Adam Holm has actually got this thing pretty close. Who knows then? Maybe cuts. We saw Carter 17 seconds of cuts somehow, some way. Does Leclerc have 7 seconds of cuts? Because that will cost him the win at this point. 6.5 seconds. Adam Holm is putting a blistering lap down to the flag here. Riders going down in front of Leclerc. And at least for the time being, Leclerc is going to bring it down here to the checkered flag and take the win. Leclerc, your winner in MXGP Race 2 here in the Czech Republic. Adam Holm's 2-2 performance on the day is going to be tantalizingly close to a Grand Prix win, but it will not get it done unless Tyler Lang throws it away here with 2 corners to go. In and out of turn 1 into turn 2. And a couple more right-handed kinks at the top of the hill leads us down into the final sweeper. And here it is. He is going to gain 3 more points in the championship on Leclerc. Tyler Lang wins the MX Simulator Grand Prix of the Czech Republic. 1-3 scores is going to get it done. Magnetti crosses the line. He'll be 4th in this one. So 3-4 for him, which actually will be 4th overall on the day. Chase Blakely, looks like he has got 5th place all but wrapped up. Matthias Janis got into 6th, so he was able to get around his teammate Castellaneta drifted back to 7th. And Chase Donovan, first rider, a lap down in 8th. A good effort for him, though. And 9th was Caleb Hall. 10th, Braden Carter. Those two are arguing or something. Not sure what they're doing, but humping the bikes next to each other. Jacob Hubbard in 11th. 12th for Lawson Dye. 13th was Austin LeBeau. 14th across the line now, Brady White. 15th, Ethan Parks. 16th was Jeffrey Bruns. 17th for Brandon Larson. 18th for Hollywood Wascom. 19th for Brett Thomas, and 20th was Aaron Rockefeller as we wait for 2 more riders to finish this one off for us, and we'll get an indication of those cuts. It's like last rider that's on the points paying positions that still has to cross is Castellaneta. Not sure who's off the track there way in the background. But Castellaneta is going to bring us down, and we'll take a look at cuts, see if it affected our overalls, see if it affected anything on the day. Over the line, everybody comes. Leclerc confirmed as the winner. Holmes 2nd. Lang 3rd. Wins the overall. Magnetti 4th. Blakely 5th. Janis 6th. 7th Castellaneta. 8th Donovan. 9th Hall. 10th actually goes to Lawson Dye as Carter once again gets boofed by cuts down to 11th. Hubbard goes from 11th to 12th on cuts. 13th for LeBeau. 14th for Brady White. 15th Ethan Parks. 16th for Bruns. 17th Larson. 18th Wascom. And 19th actually goes to Rockefeller on cuts as Brett Thomas drops to 20th. In this moto. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is going to be our night of racing here at the MX Simulator Grand Prix of the Czech Republic. Round 7 of 12 in the 2021 Race Director Gaming Grand Prix Championship. What a great night of racing. Good stuff all around. And the championship leads did not change hands, unlike last week. So still leaving this one with Leclerc at the front and Cooper Hunt also maintaining the red plate in the MX2 class, but of course Payson Johnson gaining some points back on him. Tyler Lang wins the overall in the MXGP class, so he gains some points back on Leclerc, and setting us up for a pretty good second half in both of these championships moving forward. So we have a couple weeks breaks now. The next race will be August 9th. I will not actually be streaming that race on that day, so it'll be delayed to another day. Not sure which day just yet, but just so you guys are aware of that situation. But we'll see what happens then. But please do join us this Wednesday for the 7th round of Race Factor Gaming Nationals here on July 21st. It is the Washougal National, and we look forward to seeing you guys then. Thanks, of course, to atom.com, R Jerky, and Race Factor Gaming for, of course, putting this race on, and all of you fans who join us every week. We look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday here for the Washougal National, but we'll see you guys a little bit later on. Bye-bye for now.